What is going on, YouTube world? He's Steve. I'm Dave. Insert Revolution Podcast, episode 71. So now it's 2 years in a row, our annual year in review.
This is true.
The numbers don't lie. At least here. Other places, there's some sketchy math going on. I don't know how things happen. I don't know how cards are pulled per se, but here it's mostly on the up and up. So welcome everyone. Couple few days after the Christmas happened, and then a few days before New Year's. So jam-packed week. Try to jam-pack some of our, and I didn't prepare anything per the usual. Again, we show cards once in a while on here, but we're not the human centipede of shitbag podcasts and other shorts out there that need to constantly show cards to feel validated in life, the hobby, and otherwise. So, if you follow either one of them,
Others may disagree, but opinions vary, and we'll leave it at that.
let's go Yannick and Eric.
We got Foxy hanging out.
Yeah, Foxy.
Paul,
I think.
Paul chimed in early. Ty.
I here as well. Horse shit. This is horse shit.
We'll save that topic for another day.
Yeah. You actually want to get to the year in review or start a disgruntled worker rambling diatribe for 2 hours.
Yeah, let's try and avoid that. We may get into that later. You just never know, but
yeah, if you follow either one of us on our standalone YouTube channels or sometimes our Instagrams, and even there, we're very quiet. We've been very quiet on that front. There's obvious reasons for that, and but if you follow us on the YouTube, you still see videos because that's what we're used to. That's our social medium to get it out there, what we're picking up, or sort of what our plans are and whatnot, and how we're navigating the murky waters of our hobby. So you won't see much of that. You'll probably hear us talk about our acquisitions. You'll hear us banter on about some of the stuff. You know. If you know, you know. So don't expect a lot of that, if any, tonight. It's
okay. Time out here. Whoever said this was a clashy show?
Yeah, that's.
I think you must have us confused with somebody else because, IRP and classy, I don't think belong in the same sentence.
That Eric is hashtag fake news. So we'll talk about it. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. I don't know. Just one of the usual hangouts where we got a topic. This one we can actually go into a little more depth and then go down those dirt roads. So
hashtag facts.
Truth. So breaking out the Maker's Mark.
Yep. Oh, see, Dave's even drinking tonight. Even better. This was one of my Christmas presents from my wife.
I saw that, Eric. You had that is a nice find of the old school Brodeur insert type stuff. It was $98.99 Black Diamond I don't know, whatever the insert is numbered to 1,500. So it's past year. When you said you collected like the 90, what, 4 or 5, I think you had mentioned on Carlos's show, you're sort of active through then. So a few years later.
Yeah, I still got this from the wife. So 2022 hopefully will be a I've been debating if it's quantity or if I go quality. You know, quantity is always a good thing because usually that's the only goal I set. Kind of, it's never written down. It's just kind of always out there. Uh, I met my goal for the year, which is always a good thing. I did surpass the 2,200 mark by one card. Actually, by more than that because of the care package from Vinny, the better half, and C. I couldn't tell you that 2216, maybe 2217, somewhere in that realm. Uh, so I at least met it, which is a good thing to say the least, because there for a while I was getting a little concerned. uh, but you know, started out fairly good. The collection in Germany was one of the bigger ones early on, so that really helped quite a bit. But for the most part, it was slim pickings. I was really very selective this year. Yeah, I'm sorry for that. You probably could have found something else better to do on a Tuesday night, but you know, we appreciate you being here, nonetheless. I did get some nice stuff though too. You know, some low numbered '90s funness. Is that even a word, Dave? Funness.
It is.
Which, you know, I'll show a few here and there throughout the night, just to refresh some memories of this past year, of course. So yeah, at least to start off, I'm pleased to say that I did at least accomplish my one goal that I did set out. I followed Carlos's kind of video setup and kind of went over the counts throughout the year, which I kind of liked. No, 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 no.
Sorry.
We fired the producer.
Yeah.
He sucked.
Yeah,
wasn't worth what we were paying him.
mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot we weren't paying him. That's probably part of the reason why it sucked, right? Got to know everybody better this year. A lot more kind of independent interactions via Instagram. So that's always a positive. You know, whether it be me reaching out or them reaching out, trying to, you know, engage in a little bit more in-depth conversations. Hoping to carry that into 2022. I will say it was kind of nice this year. I felt like more people sent me Christmas wishes and things before I even had a chance to do that. So that was kind of nice. I didn't feel like I was that one way correspondence type situation to where you feel like you're always messaging people. So that was kind of cool. And you guys know who you are. I'm not gonna call out anybody specifically, but you guys know who you are. Who reached out and sent well wishes for Christmas. I do appreciate it very much so. So I have to say that this group is pretty close, and it's only going to get closer. I think, which that's the whole foundation of what we stand for. It really is. It really boils down to the relationships, and I know it. I know sometimes you guys get sick and kind of tired of hearing it, but the mantra at the end of every show is the truth when it comes to Dave and I. We live it as best as what we can. Sometimes, yes, we fall a little short. It happens. It's called adulting, unfortunately. But at the same time, I am truly grateful and thankful for those of you who have supported the show, reached out, engaged in conversations, and hope the conversations continue to go into 2022.
And I don't have to say much more. Pretty much the same on my end. That card wise, yeah. Beginning of the year was, if the StarQuest Gold wouldn't have looked like a toddler rolled it down a staircase. And thankfully that the seller was truthful enough to know that I probably jumped in too quickly, putting in the offer. It could have been real bad. But the first few months were insanely good, especially for that Brodeur collection. The preceding month, or the following months, a lot of it still went well. You could tell things eventually, I think, didn't get priced out, but at the same time, even where you feel comfortable, and then you're going like 30% higher, 40% higher. I'm like, okay, even 50% higher. Now we're going like 400% higher. I'm like, no, I'm not. As much as I want cards for the collection, there are very, very, very few things I'll even consider that type of markup. And they're mostly Josh Johnson that I don't have. At this point, that's that's where the money will be burned. Again, if something came up Brodeur-wise where I had to really think about it, I would. But when an Epix goes for just south of 500, I can't. I mean, I want to. Even if I sold another couple grand in cards, it's hard to go that direction when you know what you can buy for that type of money in various other directions, where serial numbered or not, there's a couple I'd probably jump near that price, but I know what I would want to spend that money on immediately. It's not even a thought. So the Brodeur stuff, not because I got bored with it, not because there wasn't a lack of stuff coming out, showing up on eBay. It slowed down, and that's fine. For me, it's especially fine because I got so much other shit I collect that it never runs out, which is good and bad. So that's why I gear back to antiquated media with DVDs. I'm always going to be somebody that likes to have something tangible in hand. I need a CD. I need a DVD. I don't want streaming. I don't mind it on TV, but I'd rather be able to go back and be like, oh wow, here's a CD, here's like the playlist. It's not just, wow, there's Notorious B.I.G. Life After Death. Well, there's Hypnotize. Well, what the hell else was on there? It was, Joe. The two of them. It's hard for me to pass those up because that's something not over the past 4 or 5 years that I've liked. This is like 24 years of liking them. Liking the orange. Also liking the purple. And loving the emerald. I was able to secure, I think the season, the moment one was the one that I still need, and I think I need a couple orange ones, but I've got, I think, most of the rest of them to play, and I just, you have to make the choice, and usually early on, of how deep you're going to dig the hole, how far you're willing to like swim out offshore to procure something for the collection. It's like, do you really want to swim the English Channel for something, again, that's you're going to love, but there's always going to be a dollar amount when you talk about it. It's not going to be like the first thing, oh my God, what a great card. It's like, I love this card, but I spent $300-400 on it. For me, who doesn't have the unlimited funds or the money tree that's all of a sudden popped up in the backyard, those are tough pills to swallow. And again, you know you can spend that money on something in that Hall of Fame collection where it's going to be, you're not picking it up again. Or you're not finding it. You don't need to worry about it. You can pick up like a Steve Van Buren cut auto. Or you can put it towards a bigger cut auto. Do I not regret? Do I wish that I could have made a bigger run at some of this stuff? Yeah. But in the end, I don't want to sort of have even a little storm cloud over that. Like, oh man, that you spent $350-400 on that. It's like where we say look back. You can look back 15 years ago, probably pick that up for $50, $40. But that's on us. We always say that. That's nobody's fault but our own. Especially being in the card game as long as we've been in it. It's not like we just popped in the last couple of years and weren't aware of this stuff. This is all shit we've known.
Buying cards at 7-Eleven or the corner 5 and dime or at the grocery store. Here's another revelation. Yes, that was a thing. Back in the 90s, they were everywhere. All the way up to the mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is perusing Instagram the other day, and Golden Co. actually had posted something. Everybody knows that's Ken Golden's thing. But it happened to be the 04-05, I think, Superfractor of LeBron James. Graded. I don't remember what the grade. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had posted something on either Instagram or Twitter or something talking about how this person knew the guy who pulled it, and it came out of a pack at 7-Eleven. And looking at some of the comments throughout that entire post of, no, that's a load of crap. That's not a thing. How in the world could you pull something like that out of a pack coming from 7-Eleven What do you mean 7-Eleven? Folks, for anybody who has been in the collecting game since the 90s, knows any retail outlet, and I'm not talking Walmart and Target either,
Mhm.
any retail outlet, grocery store, five and dime, gas stations, corner stores. Yes, you had hobby shops, but there wasn't much of a distinguishing factor between hobby and retail.
Mhm.
Hobby and retail really started having designations later on to where you had hobby exclusives. So only you could pick up a pack or that product in a hobby shop.
Mhm.
I'm not going to quote years because I couldn't tell you specifically when it was, and I don't want to misquote something. I could probably go back and figure it out, but I'm not going to sit there and throw out specifics because I don't want to look like I'm a dumbass. Same to you, Matt. But for those individuals who have been around for any length of time, knows that any card manufacturer, they send their product to their facilities to print and pack. So you never know where the best card is going to end up.
Mhm.
They get distributed to multiple places. So is it possible to pull a 101 superfractor of LeBron James out of a 7-Eleven pack of Topps Chrome? Absolutely.
Mhm.
It's not uncommon to pull 101s out of retail products that you get at your Walgreens, your CVS,
Mhm.
Walmart, Target nowadays. You don't see them at your local gas stations like you used to just because the packaging is different.
Mhm.
It was they didn't have blasters. They didn't have mega boxes. They didn't have stuff like that. That's a recent thing in the later what when did those start? 2013, 2014 in that range maybe possibly.
I think they had like retail. I don't even think we thought of them as blasters. I think it was just sort of just like a retail pack out or whatever. There wasn't any like nomenclature that went with it. It was just that's a retail option for cards. So I do remember
But
some stuff like back in the early mid 2000s, but again, it wasn't. That's not what they were pushing. They were still pushing 36, 24 count boxes of packs. Your home team advantage if it was tops at your local shop. That was like a brick of cards for like $10, but you got 70 cards in there. So that was basically at the time with better odds for inserts and autos and jerseys. That was basically your hanger box at the time. And then again, then you had those other things that were just like, okay, we'll sort of trinket or sprinkle them out here, sprinkle them there, but our bread and butter is going to be the brick and mortar. Again, people still semi newish to the advent of, hey, let's go online and order cards. We did it, but it wasn't like we didn't want to support brick and mortars. Now it's like David Adams, Blowout, any of these Steel City. You're like, I want to go there, going internet, go wherever, and do that instead of. Again, you're going to have the little markup. If you're going to have too big of a markup, don't do it. But at the brick and mortar, if you've got somebody trust or some guy you want to support, you want to pay an extra 10, 15% there, or whatever. You're keeping him in business. If you're paying an extra 115%, 120%, then no, you're being foolhardy with your money. So it's we've been more towards packs, and I think '96. I think Pinnacle, if I'm remembering right, had some hobby inserts, some like retail or some of those. The magazine, which was basically like the Fleer jumbo packs where you could get the rookie sensations that came up like that stand-up box, and you had like the 2 rows, and I think those were the magazine configuration, as it were. So it's changed over the years, but there again, you have a whole segment of the audience that Golden's like catering to that has zero clue how cards even were packaged. I mean, it's just like not everything was at Target and Walmart, and we weren't all shooting each other over them. No, you could go to Woolworths and you could get cards. You could go to KB, Toys R Us, Children's Palace. You could go pretty much like Steve said. Even in town here, Pastica's, which was basically a furniture carpet store, they had 95 Fleer football jumbo packs. So we're buying that, trying to get the rookie sensations at that white raised with like Lee Woodall, our first experience with Lee Woodall and Marshall Falk's rookie sensation, because the 94 ones were so hot, we wanted the 95. Everywhere that you could get cards, you probably could. It wasn't just limited to the major mass retailers or brick and mortar.
Yeah, 90, 91 Fleer, 91, 92 Fleer, basketball, Eckerd, which was a drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody who's been around, Eckerd was the place you went to get your prescriptions filled long before CVS and Walgreens was a thing.
What about Farmore? Did you ever see a Farmore?
I don't know that one.
Eastern Ohio was a same deal, just one of those chains that got bought out by that one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Eckerd.
But we had a five and dime place called Emmy Moses that always had. Usually, it was Donruss baseball. It's not like you had a ton of selection by any stretch of the imagination. If you wanted major selection, you went to a hobby shop. I mean, let's be realistic. But any retail establishment, you could find something. I used to always get packs from Albertsons Fleer Ultra. Fleer Ultra was I opened more Fleer Ultra packs in 1993 than I think I opened anything else, for that matter, because that and 91 Pacific Nolan Ryan. Because anytime my grandmother went to the grocery store, she always went by the cards, which was at the very front of the store, and she always came home with
the packs looked like for those two. I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's one of those in which it's interesting to see that, yes, we've all talked about how the hobby has exploded and the visibility that it has, but at the same time that, all of these new people coming in, making statements that are not accurate because they haven't been in the hobby. They've just come in, they've started making a name for themselves, influencer or not, or irrelevant. But, for anybody who's been around as long as what most of us have been, this isn't anything new.
Mm-mm.
And the fact of individuals being out there stating that, there is no way that you could pull a LeBron Superfractor out of a retail pack from 7-Eleven is complete, utter nonsense. Nonsense. Anything is possible when it comes to pack out and distribution. The only thing that wouldn't apply to would be a hobby type exclusive thing, i.e. exquisite. They hand pack them.
Yeah.
But, even that, though that's a hobby store exclusive, you still don't know what's going to go where.
Certain products.
Because all they're doing is putting them in the box. That's all they're doing.
Like, I hear what you're saying. Like, everything is. Well, so some things are in a product. It might have a retail release, but there might be some thing within that product that is there's some only hobby exclusive inserts, and there's some retail exclusive inserts. So there's retail is not without, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But the fact that so many people were calling BS that that something like that, a superfractor of that caliber player, would come out of a retail pack. It's like, educate yourself, folks, before you put yourself out there. Learn about what you're talking about.
There's a Hitman Mike, Hitman 23. He, out of one of those Fairfield boxes, had a heritage pack that was a retail pack, not high series, just base series, heritage. And he pulled a Albert Pujols superfractor. So I don't want to hear it.
Somebody pulled a Trout update rookie out of a repack product.
Yeah, egg.
It's anything is possible, regardless of how hot the hobby is now.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is possible. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, when these manufacturers pack out products, if they have retail and hobby releases, they're all in the same type of packs. You don't know what's going to go where.
Mm-hmm.
So absolutely, it could be in a retail product.
Well, there was before Pat Mahomes was Pat Mahomes, there was a whole bunch of 2017 packs already ready to go in product. So it's like years later, you were pulling out of those Fairfield packs, repacks, 2017 score packs, and trying to pull a Mahomes rookie.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So I know it kind of went off a little bit off topic, but it's one of those in which I've been thinking about that for the longest time, and ultimately, what to say and how to approach that subject. But that just, to me, that solidifies do I call it ignorance of some of these individuals?
Yeah.
I don't know if ignorance is the right word, but it kind of gets the point across.
It's a word.
It gets the point across, but you have all these people and, you're going, and yet you have so many individuals following some of these people or, listening to what they have to say and things along those lines. And yet they don't realize that, anything can be pulled out of any release product. If you're talking, like a parallel, I'm not talking RPAs, folks. You're not going to go and get a pack of National Treasures retail and pull an RPA. I mean, we all know this. But for something as, and I'll use the term iconic, superfractors can carry the iconic nomenclature, I think. To have that come out of a retail product, absolutely. Absolutely. And it happens probably more frequently than people realize.
Is superfractors? I don't own a superfractor. But is that what Bowman Chrome calls their 101s? And I know, Allen and Ginter, there's an Allen and Ginter Chrome, Austin Meadows superfractor up on eBay right now. But superfractor Allen and Ginter, you know what I mean? Is that carries that name? And it's like, I just wonder if because the superfractor is, I think, an iconic idea in the hobby, but when you say that, do you think of it exclusively in the Topps Chrome vein of how it was initially launched, or how it was initially introduced?
I just think of it under
Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
The Topps umbrella. That's how I think of it. Bowman, Topps offshoots, and Chrome. Just
so
because
the exclusivity to Topps is enough for you. It is what it still counts. All right.
I still put Topps Chrome ahead of the others, personally.
Yeah, it has appeal, but you're ranking them under that umbrella. I get that.
Yep. Did you decide to take a break from painting?
I'm waiting for it to dry, and I didn't feel like staring at it. So, And you know what? I paint like I try to put it on thick so I don't have to go back. And I'm painting a wall the same color it already is. So you can usually sometimes maybe get away with not two coats, but we'll see. I only want to have to do this once, so I'm already set up. I might as well, if I got to put a second coat on, do it now. So it's all good.
And of course, you have something to be able to do while it dries, like you said, instead of
Yeah,
staring at it.
yeah, right. Come hang out. Do you guys do anything special for New Year's?
So
Besides get
unfortunately,
all lit up?
I don't get lit up. uh, I'm actually stuck working Thursday and Friday just because it's end of the year. So I was off last Thursday and Friday. It is a company holiday. Technically, Thursday and Friday this week is also a company holiday, but because of what my team does, I have to work. So I get the following Monday off and a day to be named later
Now, is that
whenever I want to.
working, or is that just like I'm available if needed? Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good.
yeah, yeah. Because I'm not a working supervisor. I don't do what my team does, so I
Yeah.
just have to make sure I'm there for any escalations and stuff along those lines.
If
And
you
to
get
a
a call,
degree,
is it work, or you get calls that are just like meaningless calls? Like, I forgot where that we hide the key for this.
no, it's nothing like that. No, it's nothing like that. And most of it's all via email, anyways. But I've already told my
Oh
team,
yeah,
at a
paper trail.
minimum, Thursday and Friday, yes, we are to be working, but I'm not expecting you to sit in front of your computer for 8 hours. You know, it is a company holiday. We are stuck working because of what we do, but it's like
Yeah,
I'm not gonna force you to sit there. So the entire team is off on Monday, regardless.
you're
And
not checking
then
their login stats.
no, I'll monitor the queue to see how busy we are, type situation. But I'm one of those that I'm pretty lax when it comes to that, especially if it's a company holiday. Uh, but we're all off on Monday, and then I'll give them a day later on too, in the event that they uh, put in X amount of time. So,
Right.
but other than that, we are my wife and I are going across the street to our neighbors. We're doing the last game night of the year for New Year's Eve before they leave on Monday to go down south. They're the snowbirds, so that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. But not going anywhere as far as like some big shindig to where I have to drive beyond the street. We're literally walking across the street, which is nice. Dave, any plans for you?
I'm sorry, guys.
I get to work through the rest of the week. Tomorrow I should be done with the frozen inventory, which is always a treat. And then freight tomorrow, day off slash my usual 3 to 4 hours work on a Thursday, and then Friday freight. So then order for Monday, and then head out to Krista's, and I know we've got uh, some sort of plan there. I know she's like, just don't worry about it. Bring yourself, and I'll figure out the food. And um, I know we're gonna have buffalo chicken dip. That's the one thing that I got her for Christmas. She had commented because I usually get
Oh yeah.
a surprise gift for like one of the produce girls. I've known her, I think, like 27 years because we used to live next to her or her dad, but been neighbors forever. Worked for 17 years together. So, and she started picking up some of that stuff from Walmart. That Pioneer woman, uh, type cookware stuff last year. I know your mom got there a bunch, but I was there, and they on the end cap they had like a two pack of like 1.5 quart, like slow cooker things for
All right.
$15, and I'm like I can't not buy that for her. Then when Tristan and I were wrapping the stuff, Trista's like, "Oh, that's super cute. I'd love one of these." So last Wednesday when I went down to wrap gifts, I stopped at Walmart and she had messaged me, "Oh, where are you at? Are you getting close?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like by one of the turnoffs on the highway when I was sitting there in the Walmart parking lot. Just I got that thing for her. So
Nice.
when she opened that up, she's like, "What? How'd you get this?" I'm like, again, and I told her that story, and like, "You lied to me?" And I'm like, "Yes, but it was." You see the
Yeah.
outcome. You have got something you really wanted. So, she's gonna do that. I don't know what else we're gonna do. I know she listed a bunch of stuff, but my memory's bad, and I just said, you put food in front of me. It's not like I'm gonna say no. So
Yeah.
probably have some more of the Mike's cranberry, and she'll have whatever fancy. What is it? The drink with the salt around the fucking cup. I don't.
Margarita.
A margarita.
She'll probably have that. So I don't know. Low key. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
down the block from her at the bar, there's supposed to be a band playing, and that just drums up the riffraff. So
Rock and roll, man.
I don't mind listening. We're not going to go to that obviously because I don't. I'm well past that stage. Like I just
I hear you.
Wyatt, low key. That's what we like. So I don't think I've done anything quote unquote that others may see as fun on New Year's for
Sometime.
18, 19 years, maybe.
I don't know. My definition of fun has definitely changed. But yeah, we're some friends of ours sort of rented out a local fire hall and kind of gonna do it up there a little bit. But with the baby, I mean, we'll make it to like 10 maybe, you know what I mean? And it's in the neighborhood, so it's not that far of a drive. Don't really want to be driving around really at any point in the evening, so
No,
try to
you're
minimize that.
you're just asking for trouble then.
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep it up to 10 beers if I know I'm going to be driving a short distance. So, but responsibilities. Um, good
Just make sure you
eating.
don't eat no cereal for you.
Right. We do the sauerkraut thing. Do you guys know about that? Or is that just a regional thing?
No, I understand the concept. I know about it. Yes.
Yeah, pork and if you what is it? I forget what the superstition is or wives' tale. Like if you don't have a
Yeah.
piece of pork and sauerkraut, you'll like eat with the chickens or something.
And it's no different than black eyed peas. Everybody has their New Year's Day tradition.
Listening to the Black Eyed Peas is your tradition?
Eating black eyed peas, Bob. Eating.
Oh, all right.
Close.
So I left that up there. I figured that'd be a good topic
And
to
for Joe's
all of us.
question,
Did I freeze? Oh.
I mean, there's plenty of stuff I'd say for steals because I mean I got the Josh Johnson like the Just Miners the cleats that were autographed game used for under like $50. Again, anybody, especially somebody you collect for that type of price, is insanely good. I've talked about over the past couple months some of the stuff with the Brodeur inserts and insert parallels have been insanely stupid, where you're just like, I don't believe that went for that price. Some of like the Abreu stuff early on, when like I was clearing out all his stuff, I'd pick up a few, especially the Astros parallels or whatever, for nothing, and then you'd have some of that Philly stuff going for like 40, 50, $60, and I'm like, is this Abreu himself bidding on it or what? Because there's no way in hell, even if he got into the Hall of Fame, that it would jump that high. And if it does, I might just cash out on that because that's dumb prices. I mean, if people are that all of a sudden gung ho, but it's the usual. I like that the seller is able to work with me at the beginning of the year with the totally certified platinum gold. I made the trade for the Z gold. I don't regret giving this stuff up. It was tough to part with it, but again, you have to give something to get something. So, and I got something that I wanted more than I wanted all the other stuff combined. So, missing auctions, it's always, I don't know. It's something where you don't know how high the other person bid. If you knew that, that's like, okay, if the guy bid $1 more than me and that was it, then I'd be pissed. But if I bid like 150 and it ends for 152.50, he could have bid like 300. So I'm like, I don't know. That it makes it easier not to have those second thoughts and like regrets. Like, fuck, I should have bid like 200. Why didn't? So again, there's super fractals that were got for like $80, $60, and there's others that were like 150. In the end, it's like, as long as you're happy with the stuff you got, and in your mind, you can justify the overpay with the steals and the deals. That if that's the bar on the justice bench, if that evens out, you're doing good. If one side's way down, man, I paid too much for this. Fuck, I paid too much for this. God damn it, how much did I pay for this? And there's none of those, man, I got that for a fraction of the price. If you're overpaying for everything, at some point, yeah, this guy overpaying for literally everything.
Yep.
He wants to go back to Kuzo's Corner or whatever and get those 92, 93 ultras. That's the last time he didn't overpay.
Probably overpaid then too.
Inflation. Give and take.
Cuz was a cool guy. Big beard, Lebanese dude.
I can honestly say I have no ugly type situations. I only had one that I kind of let get away, and that's only because for whatever reason my eBay decided to give me the spinning wheel of death when I tried to bid on something and it went extremely cheap, which of course is very aggravating, especially when it's a card number to 21. But for the most part, quiet this evening. Did you give him drugs? Sorry, squirrel. But everything for the most part for me was kind of well within like my target ranges. Yeah, I mean, of course I lost a few. It happens. You win some, you lose some, but nothing to where outside of the one, it was the zoning commission number to 21. So that one hurt. That one hurt a lot. But some of the other ones, it's like, yeah, it'd have been cool to have, but not a necessity. Some of the newer printing plates type situation, it's like I have my price range of what I'm willing to pay for printing plates for newer products. And if somebody's willing to pay more, then more power to you. You know what I mean? It's not a must. Now, if you go years back when I was hot and heavy, yeah, it probably would have pissed me off quite a bit. But I've kind of narrowed the focus a little bit more from that perspective, so it doesn't really sting near as much. The 2 autographs I got this year were spot on. The one that Brad was able to broker, I can say probably was somewhat of a steal. But then again, I leave that up to Brad's negotiating skills to allow that one to kind of come home to Texas for its forever home type situation. The Mile High Salute, like I said, it's one that had eluded me for quite a few years. And yeah, did I pay a little bit more than what I could have a few years ago? Of course, but at the end of the day, it's one that the opportunity presented itself, and I'm glad I was able to snag it. And now I have a copy. So outside of that, I mean, I got lucky with some of the collection or the collection purchase. Our friends at TNT was able to snag some nice ones for decent prices. But yeah, that's it for me. Bob or Vinny, I'll kind of let one of you take the question at hand.
You want to go, Vinny?
Sure. There was 2 auctions that really ticked me off that I bid strong. Actually, 3. One for a top 5 card. The other one for top 20. But I bid strong. Went kind of crazier, more than I thought. So it is what it is. No big deal. Find another cool card. The ugly was probably that Mirror Red that I didn't read the description, and I paid $70 for a jacked up copy. But it is what it is. And there's another one. Read the description. You know, we don't want to buy cards that are jacked up. So other than that, I crossed a bunch of stuff off my list. I got the OPG Lemieux rookie, so I can't be too upset. That was a big one off the list. So now I have both of the Lemieux rookies. I'm pretty happy with that. Wasn't bad.
I didn't. There weren't. Nothing is really coming to mind as far as like stuff I was going after that I wasn't able to get. I added a lot of Meadows to the collection this year. Picked up some great Moss cards. It was a good year for Randy Moss. The only time I lost on a big Moss card, I was able to get from my man Dave Archer. So, and that was a win-win for both of us. So, PSA order that I had with the Jordan rookie, that would probably my ugly of the year. Just not checking the box to get it authenticated at least or at minimum. So that coming back ungraded was kind of like a bummer. But
yeah, but how would you have known? You know, it's one of those in which you looked it over, you felt good about it, And, because of the type of case it was in, of course, it kind of squooshed it a little bit.
The only thing I can think of, man. Yep. So I got a little 6-card lot that'll hope maybe go to STC or something. We'll see.
Yeah, you got you a nice Shaq auto that you were excited about.
I got the Shaq auto with the Lakers. I think I picked up. It was actually with last year's eBay money for Christmas. It was the Upper Deck rookie, and a PSA holder with the auto silver auto on it, authenticated. That was a pretty cool card. But yeah, having those cards that I opened up with my dad, or I got my Peyton Manning Topps Chrome rookie graded. I got my Dirk Topps Chrome rookie graded. Some cards that have just been in the collection for a while. Like I mentioned, cards that I opened with my dad. Got that Jason Dominguez back in a 10, so I got the sticker Jordan rookie year back in a 5 and an 8. So lots of great cards added to the collection for sure.
You completed a 1998 Topps Chrome set.
Yeah, I mean, the more it's just it, man. The more I think about it, like it don't feel. Oh, nice. Okay, that's what you was saying. I see it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
That's why I threw it out there. I'll get them in. I'm letting the holiday kind of mail die down a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But I will get those out to you, and no video necessary at all. Not even
no
a mention.
problem.
Not even a mention. Not even a mention is required. I'm just glad I was able to. I was just glad I was able to help you finish one. I'm waiting for you to hit me back with some other possibles at some point, and maybe I can scratch a few more off your list.
Yeah, I really am still trying to figure out what I want the collection to look like. If I don't know. So there'll be some soul searching, I think, here in the next week, next coming days to kind of like, to in an effort to sort of have a plan for 2022. If you don't know where you want to be, how do you know how to get there, type of thing. So
let's just hope that it continues to stabilize, which I think it will.
I have a very big potential trade in the infant stages. So stay tuned on that.
So you'll actually be forced to make a video of said trade, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would make a video for this card for sure.
Single card.
Yeah. I don't. Again, details not worked out really. Recent comps are hard for one of the cards because it's so limited. So you're trying to look for comparables, and we're at a starting point. And I don't know. There might be a second card thrown in, and then we'll be there. So it's amongst friends. So it's not really. It's just somewhere we got to get that we're both okay with it, because it's going to be adding a card that will be like a lifelong. We each have a card that belongs in the other person's collection, basically.
Makes sense. No, I get it. I get it. Well, best of luck. Hope it all. I hope it works out for both parties involved, because it's one in which you hope it goes well for each party, especially if it's amongst friends. You don't want any sort of hard feelings type situation.
I do not foresee any of that. No.
Well, when you said it's between friends, I'm like, okay, you're not revisiting the trade, I think, of summer.
No.
That was the one I was like, do it. Not then when we talked and like, you're like, oh, I'm going to give up this, and this. Like, and I know.
Oh, dude, do you know how? Because some of those were cards that I sold later.
Mm-hmm.
At a more opportune time, and like how just sick I would have been, because especially like I was just getting, well, I was getting crushed with like cards I just sold like a month too early or 2 months too early. You know what I mean? It's all good though. Like I don't want to bring up all those old wounds that I needed therapy to get over.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. No matter what time it is, it's the wrong time.
You've said that
Plain and
before?
simple.
Yeah.
Yes, I've said it many times.
That's in our back, the back of the shirt with all those things on it. That's in like the super small print between like 3 other sayings, like diagonally behind it.
So, Bob, you just pretty much indicated that you don't watch episodes that you're not a part of. just throwing that out there.
You caught me.
It's okay. It's okay. I get it. I wouldn't want to watch this in replay either. So I mean,
It's not a guarantee, because I have watched a replay in my lifetime. Just probably not recently.
everybody catch that A replay, singular.
You know what? You know what I've been doing late at night? I've been pulling the Vinny card out and putting the YouTube up on the TV when I have the living room to myself. That's kind of nice.
Yeah.
Till I got
There's less
Major
of an
League
obligation
Baseball.
to comment. There's
Well,
less of an obligation to comment.
This is true.
So, anyways,
I actually got caught up on some videos. I think I'm down to 50 on the watch later list. It's down from like 102.
oh wow,
That's some progress.
I'm making progress. Hadn't commented on a damn one, but you know, there's at least thumbs ups and knowing that I watched them.
we know that's your style. If you want to throw that person a comment, you would probably just text them.
Probably, I'm going to be honest. It got to the point to where, how many times can you tell somebody, you know, nice pickups, great
Why do you
stuff?
think that's what Dave just says? Decent all the time. That's like he's run out of clever ways to respond to another pickup video.
But on the flip side, I always tried to make sure that I would pick out like certain cards that you would that somebody would show, and call out those specifically, because at least that indicates that you watched it. And I would try and pick one that was kind of early on and one later in the video, so it's like you knew that I watched the whole video. But it got to the point to where it's like, still, how many times can you sit there and be like, yeah, I really like this one, or you know, this one was really cool, or I remember that set from back in the day. To me, you start getting repetitive, and I don't want it to ever seem as though there's not sentiment behind a comment.
Like, I've been there, man, and it's like I had to look and say, like, okay, I'm a fairly normal, rational human being. Like, am I looking at who's commenting on my videos and keeping track of, like, you know, who is engaged and who isn't, and you know, and engaging our friendship on how much they participate on my channel? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that, so I really don't think other people are doing that. And people are interested in their analytics and like why people maybe don't watch the whole thing, you know, whatever. Like, I don't really know what people do that are trying to like grow their channel.
All I can say is, for those individuals that I watch, I do watch eventually. One of those thumbs up are in fact me. Just know I'm watching. It just takes me time to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you have, you know, 20-something day videos and it totals, you know, like 5 hours of watch time, it does take some time to get there. But it's not just Dave.
That's why he always never watched. It's like,
No, this is not true. This is not true. I think I actually watched 4 of yours specifically today. But, Ed has some long videos, so when Bob decides to make a video, I always make sure I watch. There's some people that I always make sure that I watch. And I got to the point now where, commenting is, I don't want to say it's a forgotten medium when it comes to YouTube, but for those individuals that I have relationships with or whatever, I can just text them, hey, I caught the video, nice, this, and this. And to me, that means more than putting it on a video. Because comments on a video, yes, they can mean something to a lot of people, but at the same time, if I were to take the opportunity and reach out and just send a text message and be like, hey, nice pickups. I really liked A, B, C, D, E, and just, started listing a bunch of stuff. To me, that's kind of more personal than putting a comment on a video. And of course, I go back years ago where I responded to every comment on a video. Every comment. And it was like I could literally spend an hour in my day, depending on the number of views and the number of comments, responding to comments. Sorry, interrupted.
You picked up, like, let's say Bob picks up an Illusions John Morant rookie. That was something he was going after, and he's like super excited. I want to say, even for me, it depends on what you get. Not to sound like shallow, but we're inundated so much. If Bob picks up that Clemente rookie, I know that means a ton to him. It's not just another run-of-the-mill Cabrian Hayes or whatever, some Pitt Panther star. It's something that has different and multi-layered tiers of meaning for him. So I'm going to tend to, even if he doesn't sit there and like, oh my God, greatest pickup in my collection ever, Holy Grail acquired. It's you can just say Bob Clemente and be like, okay, this might be something I want to watch. A little more than like the usual run-of-the-mill stuff, which I'd watch. I watch all your guys' stuff. I watch a lot of people's. I get far behind like Steve. But when you have something, and again, it can be like the clickbait of like the Holy Grail acquired, whatever. If it's something that means that much to you and you're not doing it just because you're Team Schmedium and all these other idiots, and it's a Holy Grail for like the 10 seconds you show it, I'm more apt to comment and leave a lengthy comment on those type of videos, especially if I've known you for any amount of time. Like if Vinny picks up certain cards and finally gets his ass in gear and makes videos. All you have to do is push record.
Hint, hint.
If I can do this for over 10 years, if this guy can do it for over 10 years, a lot, and you see some of the people that are still active, if they can still do it for a lengthy amount of time and not jingle it up with all kinds of fun and excitement and graphics and whatnot, you're just camera, point, go. You can do it. You can do it.
And how many times did I tell you, Vinny? Your first few videos, they're going to suck.
No, they're not. They're going to be awesome.
Mine didn't.
No. They're going to suck.
Yeah.
They're going to suck.
You're going to be nervous. You're going to be unsure of yourself.
It's the nerves. It's the nerves. It's the things that go running through your head. Did I missay something? Did I stumble over my words? You overanalyze stuff, so they suck. It's okay.
Hey, Vinny,
dear God,
I'll give you some tricks to relieve some stress before you make the video.
Oh, this should be helpful.
Yeah.
It's still gonna suck.
Vinny don't
Just
look
know
like the type of guy that gets stressed out.
Ah!
How many like random just hanging out conversations have you had with Vinny?
Random hanging out. You've been pretty much a part of all of them. So how many is that? Half a dozen or
Well,
less?
Vinny and I usually chat once a week. And Vinny gets very anxious and very nervous in a lot of instances and situations. So I
Well, he
get
hides
it.
it well. He hides it well.
My
Just
dad
wait.
calls me nervous Mervis. So
Yeah, eventually you'll start seeing the camera shake here in a minute. So all it means is he's shaking his leg for whatever reason. So it's a nervous twitch and it's a nervous habit. I can relate because I do the same thing. The only difference is I'm not near any table legs, and my legs don't reach the table, so you don't see it anyways.
You're like a leg. You're like me, Steve. You're like a leg itcher. I always doing this.
Yeah, it's a leg itch. It's a twitch.
Yep.
You know, maybe I have Tourette's and I just don't know it. Damn it, squirrel! What?
You're gonna get canceled.
But no, Vinny, seriously, 2022, that needs to be your goal. Outside of anything else, screw the card goals, the pickups, the additions, finishing sets. That needs to be like way down on the list.
All those things that you stress about, you should just share it with everybody.
Make videos.
Because I remember, like my first one, I didn't upload it. I'm sitting here, I'm holding the camera. The camera's like here, and I'm like just sort of muttering and mumbling. Like I got this. There's a Josh McCone. Here's a Mirror Emerald of Northcutt. That's to 5. Here's an autograph, number to 9. This one's an acetate. It's pretty cool. Number 25. So there it is. Thank you. And literally that was it. And I'm like, I watched it. I'm like, if anybody watches that, I'm gonna get beat up in the streets. So I redid it. I'm like, I gotta just have the point and shoot. Have it on like just take a blaster, put it there. Put at the time the little digital camera, push record, and do it that way. So that way, at least my hands, I could bring them up off the table. They weren't sitting. The camera wasn't on the table. So, and then if I hit the table with my legs, it wouldn't knock over, at least immediately. So it's nerve-wracking, but once you take, it's like the pool. If you sit there and you're like, oh, how what's the water feel like? You see other people in there, they're having fun or whatever, they're farting around. Like, do you sit and dip your toe? I'm like, man, people are having fun. Fuck it, just cannonball in. And then when you're in there, why did it take me so long to get in?
that's going to be the thing. You're right there, Dave. Because I think once I jump in, what are you doing down there? Making a video. Leave me alone, Ma. Except in this instance, it'll be better half. So I'm sure there will be some colorful background in the.
See, just thinking about making a video, he's shaking his leg. See,
that's a stress reliever, Steve.
No, that is a nervous habit. That is a nervous habit.
No, fisticuffs.
I have it too. I know this. I'm speaking from experience. This is not me calling you out or giving you shit. I can relate. I promise you.
Trista calls me out all the time because I'll start. If I get antsy, I'll start like.
You start fidgeting.
Oh, my legs are going. She's like, "What's wrong? What's the matter?" I'm like, "I don't know." It's like your legs are moving. What the hell? I'm like, it's because I'm not walking right now. That's why. I don't know. I'm like, sometimes it's because of a reason. Sometimes it's just, it's there. And then you're like, oh, I'm doing that. I don't know. I'm not going to the doctor to get diagnosed for why I shake my legs. So that's the least of importance in the list of going to the doctor. So, but just do like Nike. Just do it. Even if you do it now, upload something or do a video and just watch it. You don't need to sit there and critique it. I think the only stuff I've watched, it's because of humor. The ones I always share with people that really, they're like, oh, like Bob, he'll start talking to me. It's like, hey, here's a womb there it is video, here's a shower video. If you can withstand these, you're gold. And if not, can't say you didn't try. So, you don't need to at the same time watch them. Watch them if you want to critique them that much, and if not, like me, I watch even this stuff. Anything I'm on, I can't. I'm bored to tears with myself. My voice in my head sounds 1,000 times different than it does on video. So I'm like, I
totally agree.
Because I'm like, if I do, I'm just going to be pissed off. There's anything to be pissed off about. Otherwise, I don't need to add to another thought. Add to that.
What the hell are you doing, Bob?
Yeah,
Making hot chocolate.
We can hear you.
Oh, I'll mute the mic there.
We're like, holy cow, what the heck is he doing? Is he like building something?
Must have got one of those big 1 or 2 pound Hershey bars for Christmas, and he's like unwrapping it and the foil and. No, just. And
Are you sure you're making hot chocolate?
It kind of spits it out at the end. It's kind of gross.
That sounds like a personal problem, Bob.
Yeah.
You may want to go have that checked out. That's not normal.
Oh, yeah, this cream's still good.
Is it now? Are we sure?
Well, if suddenly it gets quiet and you hear a thud and it goes quiet, maybe not.
I'm gonna start making myself cry. You always know that's a good episode when you make your own self cry. No, normally I wouldn't go back to like a further back comment, but Ty mentioned something about a Tommy Goff video. This is how Tommy made his videos.
Oh.
Okay, maybe not this specifically, but something of the sort.
Assistance. That's what he had.
Yep, liquid assistance. But his stuff was always fun to watch.
Yeah,
always fun to watch.
It wasn't going to be like, oh my God, I'm learning something. It was just a reactionary. What was he doing? Maybe he had a bad day, so a couple more of I'd say the old-fashioned type glasses. I don't know what they're actually called. That you just have like the crown on ice or whatever, crown on the rocks, that style glass. But it's like, how many did he have before saying, bucket, I gotta do a video? Throwing, he threw the what was it? The scissors or the knife across the room.
He'd always say, I'm having a good time.
Having a cocktail.
Why do we do 71? Why do you have to? So again, that you don't want to do that all the time, because then, okay, maybe there's some underlying things going on. Not to get in my therapist chair, but But at the same time, again, YouTube is a lot of our outlets to be stupid, to be silly, to have those kind of moments because maybe our jobs don't allow that. Family, maybe more regimented. So it's good to have sort of that semi-creative at the worst outlet to do something a little different. Maybe show a little personality that some folks may know, some of your friends may know. Maybe and again, I harken back to it. Whether you like folks or you don't like folks that have come and gone, personalities that just didn't jive with some things that you might have either thought of or whatnot, but like Michael A.R. Felk, when he put out like a contest response video, and you had to specifically do a video response, it wasn't, hey, tell me your top 5 cards. Hey, what's your favorite color? Hey, what kind of cheese is the moon made out of? It was something where you actually had to put yourself out there and do something. And again, it got a lot of people that you could probably tell that weren't used to doing that type of stuff. But it got them out of their shell, and then it's like, okay, this guy has a little more depth than I thought.
True personalities could come out in those video responses.
Yeah. And it wasn't like you're getting judged. You were, but you weren't. You weren't getting judged for what dumbness or nonsense you were putting out there. You may have been, like, I remember the one, I think, with the shower, that was like for the some sort of like Sweet 16 thing he did, and people voted on all that stuff. Yeah, Scott.
That was one of the best ones ever. But for those people who actually knew Scott, knew that was his personality.
Yes. And again, sort of like Tommy Golf, you got a little liquid encouragement in him. And dare I say, he opened up like Pandora's box.
Really, Dave? Really?
Again, bookends. We got to start, finish. We got to.
I'm retiring at the end of this year.
I'll put a application thing on. I don't even know what the job listing site is anymore.
There's a few of them.
Well, that's all right. It's better than 0. 20% is better than 0%. I'm going. The numbers don't lie. So,
Are you
yeah.
sure?
Some numbers don't tell the truth. Other numbers don't lie. But that was the thing. You knew you could get at least something different out of some people when that was even, because you knew it'd be a decent prize. But a lot of the time, I wasn't gonna do it for a prize. I wanted to do it because you try to encourage others, or you set a bar. Not that I'm setting many bars. If it's a buffet, I'm setting up to the buffet bar and eating. But you want other people to come out and be like, this looks fun. This looks like, again, if I'm going to do this, it's not going to be half-assed or something dull. You're going to put yourself out there. So, we don't have that now. That's
the creativity is lacking as of such. But then again, I think it's and this is not a slight or anything. It's a different personality base nowadays in the community, more so than what it was then.
Mm-hmm.
Because even for me, even with as active as what I was, I am far from creative. I know that's hard to believe. I'm glad everybody's sitting down. Um, the creative juices don't flow very fluid within this head of mine. But then again, I never claimed to be creative. Um, but at the same time, you had a multitude of individuals during that span in the community that got innovative with some of their contest ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, some were to show us your top five and things along those lines. But at the time, they served their purpose, and but then you had a multitude of others that they got very creative, and a lot of people did them just to be a part of something, not necessarily for what the prize was.
Mm-hmm.
Most people who joined contests usually did it because you wanted to show support for the person who was putting it on. It was that whole support dynamic. If you won, great. If you didn't, who gave a shit? Uh, how many times did people in their video responses say, I don't want to be considered for any prizes. Don't even include me. I'm just doing this to show support for the contest and the channel. Uh, do you still have contests? Yes. Do you have as much involvement with some of these contests? I think a lot of the participation is lacking in a lot of scenarios, but at the same time, those channels that I'm subscribed to, there's not a ton of content that's put out.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that's my own fault. I'm not as active reaching out to try and find new content creators and new channels to watch and things along those lines. I leverage the live streams and the podcasts, not just ours, but even Carlos's show on Friday, to try and start building friendships and relationships. It's not necessarily watching YouTube content.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube will never be what it was years ago. I
No.
think, Dave, you and I have pretty much accepted that.
Yeah.
As much as we'd love to have a resurgence of the old guard and that type of situation, I think we're kind of grasping at straws. We can hope that at some point, there is some sort of resurgence, or we stumble across some new individuals, some new channels, and things along those lines, and kind of rehash the old times.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we're also realists, and it's one of those in which we've kind of accepted the fact that that may not be a thing anymore, which is fine. We've kind of accepted that. I miss the old times. I miss coming, finishing your day from work and having videos from like 10 or 12 different channels that you actually wanted to watch. And it's just it's not there anymore. Like I said, part of that is probably my own fault because I haven't reached out or tried to dig deep or anything along those lines. But it is what it is.
It's hard to
On
find
Mondays,
those.
yeah,
It's hard to find new stuff.
it's tough. Yeah, tough to find the. Even if they're not 100% like-minded, I mean, you have to have a couple of those keys where folks are thinking or doing something in the way you #appreciate it. And then if you find them, guess what? Sometimes it's like a swerve. It's like Hulk Hogan at Bash at the Beach in '96. He comes out and joins the NWO. You're like, fuck happened here? I thought this was going to be this. And they pull the Joker, or they pull whatever the dude from He-Man that had like the 2 or 3 faces. It's like, shit, I didn't see that one coming. So then where you think you've got something with person A, it's like that person is now pretty much a thing of the past, because you put your time, your emotion in this, what you thought was a solid friendship, and then it's like, wow, that one just, it's like a spinning back fist. You didn't see it coming. And you don't have that. You didn't have much of it back then. A lot of the people that had the strong personalities, you knew where they were at. There was no two-faced, three-faced, whatever it was. They were a dick from either blog and then sort of looped over to YouTube, or if you knew them from blog, you sort of saw how they acted there. It's like, okay, I can pretty much get a good grasp on the situation. But nobody was going to blog TV to get famous. So
Facts.
it was just another place. Like right now, you hang out, bullshit. Somebody's got some cards, somebody bought some cards at the store. Hey, I'm going to rip some packs, we'll hang out, listen to some music. Hey, GSN Nick has 2 8-box mixers, 1 baseball, 1 football, 30 or whatever, 32 spots. Get in, do it. Chad's busting later.
Everybody knew each other.
Yeah.
In some shape, form, or fashion, the community as a whole, everybody knew each other. Whether or not you were buddy, you were in X clique or Y clique or Z clique, it didn't matter. Everybody knew each other in some shape, form, or fashion.
It's sort of like this. The food chain. It's like either blog or YouTube was the person, and you might have had your cliques around it or your groups around it, or the people, hey, these 10 are in this room most of the time. There's 12 in this room, but there's 6 from the 10 that I just mentioned. And then if you get the 12, okay, there's another room, and there's 8 from that room plus 4 others, and now 4 others from a different room are coming. So you had multiple overlapping groups. Again, we've said it before, we say it now. Not everybody's going to get along with everyone. It's always going to be part of life. In the same vein, a lot of the time back then, okay, if it was really somebody with a strong personality that didn't like another guy with a strong personality, they were in the room, a lot of that time, somebody bowed out. They're just like, you know what? Good talking to you fellas, ladies, whoever. I got a dip. And maybe they went on live right after. That's fine. It just, you knew where people didn't like each other. It wasn't such a, like when Dracula pulls that cape over, does this, he's not keeping it secret like that. It's like people know this guy, that guy, oil and water. It's not mixing. Better to get him out of there unless you want to see some combustion. So, and that was the medium. You didn't put stuff on Facebook. Facebook was like, hey, here's a picture of me and my kid. They had baseball today. Now it's everything else is on Facebook besides that. YouTube was a place for videos. Blog was a place for chats. It wasn't, I need to get to 1,000 subscribers for YouTube so I can have live streams on here. It wasn't that. It was more regimented, more rudimentary, but at the same time, you knew where to go to get your specific content. Now, you have everyone doing everything, so it pulls away from the fabric of the YouTube community. Which, again, people can make that choice to go, hey, I'm going to go Facebook Live and I'm going to show stuff there. Hey, I'm going to go IG Live, show whatever their collection there. I'm still going to show the shit on YouTube. That's where I started with the media sharing shit. I was on, I think, Facebook well before, but again, it was just for stupid charges. Pissed another game away. Fuck you, Philip Rivers. That's what it was. It wasn't showing my cards all the time, putting Facebook Lives. It was just for that. Happy birthday, so-and-so. YouTube's going to show my cards. YouTube's going to be where I share Naomi's stuff. Because that's some of those people that have still subscribed to me. They come across and they might comment. The newer folk that I've met over the past 3-4 years, they're going to watch it. Again, I don't need people commenting on it. I don't care either way. But again, you just show the maturation of somebody. You show the growth. It's like a video diary. And
That's the thing, Dave.
as soon as he takes off the headset, that's one thing I tell you, Vincenza, is foresee. I mean, I know you don't want to put everything out, but I mean, hey, take a clip from the soccer game. You happen to all of a sudden catch a insane save on video, and you want to share it with more than like Steve and I. You're like, man, I want to share this with the world, and you put it up as a video. You don't even have to be in the video. That's the best part. But that's where I always encourage you to at least tinker with the videos. Put it out there. You've been on camera now enough. I don't want to say there's no excuse, but there's no excuse. Ghost agrees. He's beyond pissed now.
Yes, they are. They're out there playing this now.
So that's my suggestion. Even if you go through a handful of cards, record it, just to get your druthers about you, and because I did the one video and the second, and I think it was like the first one I uploaded, and it's even if from your phone, you don't have to do anything anymore. Yes, we are. I mean, it's very much so.
Everybody jockeying for popularity.
Yeah, we get some dandies out there that are creating impressive content and whatnot, but yeah, Vinny's just leaving. We're trying to build him up for a while.
I'm still here.
You're still, yes, you are. Bob fell down, I think.
I think Bob ended up having his hot chocolate and
Man, I'm here.
cereal.
I'm freaking looking for something. I lost something at work, and I don't want. I mean, nobody wants to just watch me look around randomly on video. So. I'm just listening.
But you could add something to the conversation though, Bob. Unless
No,
you're
I really
unless you're
can't.
painting.
I'm freaking so distracted right now. I'm just all I want to do is go home, and I can't find something. So kind of where
Oh,
I'm.
that sucks.
It's all good. I'll find it eventually, but I'm gonna go back to just listening.
It's where you left it earlier.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there.
Thanks, dude. You're so helpful, and you're like the most creative person I've ever met.
Kiss my ass, Bob. Go back on mute.
I'll just, you're just gonna hear rustling now.
Hi. So what did we learn this episode? Benny needs to just suck it up and make some videos and accept the fact that they're going to suck. They don't have to suck. If you record a few and you're like, yeah, this kind of sucks, you can play with the format, of course. But I've always been a fan of in the heat of the moment, type situation actually makes the best video, whether or not you stumble over words or anything else along those lines. It's the best way to go. But honestly, at least for you being on, here and being on video and having conversations and talking about cards and showing cards, you kind of have a one up on like Dave and I when we first started making videos. Our first videos were literally that. We didn't have like test runs of being on blog TV and hosting a show and having conversations, and that wasn't a thing.
No.
And I have Ghost. I mean, what kind of sidekick curmudgeon could I need but my big old fluffy white dog?
Well, I would suggest that making sure that you kind of lock yourself in a room to where you don't have the ghost interruptions. But just throwing that out there as a partial recommendation. I wouldn't sit where you are trying to record a video as you're opening the box with seed.
No.
I wouldn't recommend that. But then again, who knows? You could end up getting something that could break the internet. Who knows? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Bless you.
Kazoon hike? Okay. But no, like I said, I mean, you do have an advantage. I mean, it's like I said, I don't want to say this is like your test or your kind of your opening acts or anything along those lines. But when you get yourself familiar with doing a lot of this stuff, then it becomes very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you just kind of start flowing with the conversation, whether or not you're talking to yourself, but verbalizing talking to yourself.
No problem there.
But it just comes out naturally is what I'm getting at. It's nothing forced. You're not like grasping for words or anything along those lines. This is possible, but that would require him to actually do something in order to become the bye Bob. But the fact that you've had trial runs, and like I said, it's with Dave and I. Yes, ours sucked on multitude of levels, and that's part of it has to do with nerves and everything else. You had so many people telling you you've been active for a long time within the blog community, so people know who you are type situation. So you build those relationships. It's no different, with StreamYard, building the relationships with StreamYard and Instagram and everything else. You already have some of those relationships, and people are going to watch your stuff, whether it sucks or not. But I have gone back a few times and watched my first few videos, and I'm like, seriously? This was garbage. This was garbage. And it always nerves, because it's one of those in which it's like, I've never done this before. And once you start getting used to it, it somewhat becomes natural. It's no different than you and I having a conversation right now, as you know, Dave's gone off camera and Bob has just disappeared for whatever reason. It's just like having a conversation. The only difference is you're having a conversation with people that aren't watching you at the time. That's the only difference. And as Dave alluded to, it really becomes kind of like a video archive of, those type of interactions, whether it be you just opening a product or you showing off some cards. But even if it's UNC, you have an opportunity to watch C grow up in some of those videos. I go back and watch some of my old ones just to see, my kiddo going from, 3 years old to how old they are now. I mean, they turned 15 in January. So it's just kind of nice to see that change throughout the years. So it really does become a video archive, but like you always say, it also adds to the museum when you're able to record the videos, because you can actually document when you get certain stuff, and it's dated, so to speak. It's no different than opening product. So that would require you to now retort and say something since Dave's off camera.
Soapbox retract for both of you?
Dave didn't have a soapbox. I'll retract the soapbox. Now it's out for you to jump on and speak. You have the floor, sir.
I was reading Paul's comment. See, I've succeeded. That just means when I do a video, Paul, you'll have to come on with me and we can do a video together and be even more influential.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, I'll work on making a video for the love of God.
All right, everybody heard it here. Everybody write it on your calendar.
2022.
December 28th, he has committed to making a video. It may take you a few times. Record it multiple times. If for any reason you just truly hate it, that's not going to work if you're opening a box. But, just throwing that out there.
Yes. So we'll figure it out.
Everybody was sitting down on that note. Dave, are you stuffing your face? Or are you dropping a deuce? Stuff in your face.
More food. Had to heat it up.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. Do it now. And again, even if you make some videos private, okay, I don't want to have my kid out there doing whatever. That's fine. Let's say you got family back in PA, family elsewhere. Hey, they don't see you guys at all, if ever, whatever. It's few and far between. Hey, here's a video. There's C playing soccer. Here's this. Here's that. Here's the whole gang. just something like that. So, just something to think about. Again, just added benefits. Again, with every benefit, there's a drawback, but do it now so you can be included in the 2023
Hall of Fame.
YouTube Hall of Fame balloting.
Let me add that to my list of priorities. Yeah, there it is.
List of I don't give a shits.
Not
Third generation don't give two. If I have to be a part of a Hall of Fame to have friends on here, well then. Which originally is probably one of the reasons I was leaving before I even got here. So I didn't know that was a prerequisite of my being allowed to have an opinion, thought, or wonderfulness.
well, yes, that is a very prestigious honor.
Yes. I'm going for the Canadian Hall of Fame.
That's a pretty low
Cheers.
bar, Steve. That's a pretty low bar, Steve. Cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
I thought I would join you in other beverage. I didn't bring my special mug today. Although a clip regarding the mug may have made it onto the highlights of the year.
Well, you can't see it. These are my K monogram glasses that my sister gave me last year for Christmas.
All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. So I heard Vinny committed now. He's going to produce, I think, 200 shows next year. I think that's is that kind of what we're shooting for? Over under 200?
Yeah, over under.
Well, I did 185 this year, so really you gotta step it up, Vinny.
Yep.
I'm expecting it that it's a minimum. I counted it up. The last live stream will be, the other ones have already been recorded. They're actually one's gonna drop tomorrow, and then another one is gonna drop right before the last live stream of the year.
Yeah, I 10 maybe this year.
It could be worse. It's like I think Bob's up to like 10 in the decade, so that's not bad.
Well, this is true.
Yeah, like if we do the math, like honestly, compared to Bob, Dramatic Pause, Lewis, you're prodigious. You're prolific. My God, calm down, slow down, Steve, slow down.
Yeah, I think I need to make less next year. I mean, geez.
Dang.
I'm shooting for the stars, man, and maybe I should. I'm just trying to compete, I guess. I don't know why.
It's fair. I understand.
I'll defer to my turtles for a few minutes.
Works. But yeah, no, I already pitched it the other day, Vinny. I'm still thinking, like, you could always go with Uncle Vinny. That's solid. That works. You can always go with Soapbox Extendo. Like, the branding's on point, bro. The branding's on point. Just right from, and the best part is some people won't get it, and that's even better. If they don't understand what it means, and then they keep asking you, and then you like don't explain it for a while, it builds the mistake.
I do like it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you've already built it in. As soon as the thought even came up, I was like, no, Soapbox Extend, buddy. Soapbox, and you can end each episode with Soapbox Retract, and then just go offline.
There you go. You have your outro.
You have your outro built in. Like, the outro's already built in, and the channel name is like on brand. I'm sure there's a logo possibility right there. You like, get your people on, Vin. Get your people.
Yeah, I'll get my person. I have one.
There you go.
Just whatever you do, don't hire
But rip that off or something. You're
Stay away from our old producer.
Mm,
Not worth it. Not worth a damn. Stay
Fair.
away from him.
fair. That's all right. But yeah, no, I pinged Steve because I was like, all right, it's the last one of the year for you guys. I was like, no, I want to at least make it an appearance. I want to at least. Plus, we already had Bob Lewis being Bob Lewis, so I figure why not.
It's only right that you're on the last show for us for the year. You have supported us quite a bit.
I do my best. I do what I can. Do what I can. You guys do get a clip in the clip show though. You guys get one in there too. So that's very important. I know you guys independently, between the two of you, you've both at least made one appearance on the clip show, but the show itself, of course, gets a clip in there because there's a beautiful highlight that I saved just for wow. It's perfect.
You now have me intrigued.
Oh, don't worry, Steve. You're prominently featured in that highlight. Wow. Chef's kiss. Trust me.
Should I give you a big fuck you now?
No,
Or should I wait till
I think you'll enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it. Here's the thing. All the clips are stuff that is on the channel. I'm not adding anything. I'm literally playing back what has already occurred.
This is true. This
Yeah.
is true.
It's like, look, if you have any issue with it, then you might want to start deleting old episodes. Like, I don't know what to tell you at that point. Like, it's on the channel. I didn't add anything.
Well, I will say that, with my neighbors going out of town on Monday, I will start making some appearances again on the show. Of course, if you extend the invite.
Well, when Bob came on the Christmas one, I alluded to two things. Number one, I sympathize with you with being in my parents' house with people walking behind me and constantly distracting me. Like I was hearing the noise in the background. I was like, oh, what the hell is? The problem is my hearing's still good. So even with the headphones in, it's like I can hear if they like breathe too hard at the other end of the house. I can hear them, and I'm sitting there like, this is annoying. This is why I like doing this from my house, so I don't have to deal with any of this garbage. But then so if you do get a chance, so Steve, I think you'll enjoy it. The Christmas Eve live stream, we got the Carlos Senior cameo, and we got the Roberto Carlos semi-fake Demi Carlos cameo. We got that. So they both made an appearance and gave thoughts, said words. So that was the thing that happened.
I've started watching bits and pieces, but I'm doing it in like spurts.
It's all good. It was a good episode. To be honest, I thought it was a good, solid episode. There was some good stuff covered. The good news is that making it, I would make the normal episode a little bit more streamlined too, but the thing is, I just like hanging out and chatting. On the Friday night, I just like hanging out and chatting. So I don't put a time cap on it. And if nobody on the screen wants to talk, if the chat's bored and we're tired, like, yeah, whatever, fine. It's all good. But they're talkative. They talk. So it's like, okay. But on the Christmas Eve, because I knew I had a hard stop before midnight, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, hey, if anybody wants to join in, get here now. Here's the link. Go. Don't sit around waiting, get warmed up. No, get your ass in here. Let's go. So we got Dave on and we got Bob on, so it was good. We were able to have a good, fun conversation. We had our fun, and then, New Year's should be fun, though. I adjusted the time slightly to give myself a little more time to prep ahead of time, but fridge is full of beer. We're good to go.
Yeah, it's still on my list. I've started watching. I think I'm through like the first half hour.
Yeah.
So I've got a ways to go.
Yeah, you'll get
But
there.
I'm trying to get caught up on all the other older videos though too.
No, it's good. I think that's one of the ones that it's evergreen. The second half, especially, is where we had a little bit of fun. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good time. We'll see. So in that vein, I will extend. I know you're doing the thing with the neighbors and stuff. If you're doing that, that's cool. But I'm going to be going for a while. So to be honest, I'll be covering New Year's in this one, and I'll probably cover New Year's on the West Coast. We'll see how things go, but that's probably the intention. So you've got a shot. You've got a window. I don't know how ambitious your neighbors are feeling. So I extend the invite to all here on the screen and all who are not. Vinny, you're more than welcome to come on. You can use that as the launching off point to the new video. You can drop the video the very next day. Boom. First video ready to drop.
He won't be that prepared.
Well, you got about 3 days. You could have the YouTube channel made. You could have a really crude thumbnail. That might actually help. The more lame the thumbnail is, that might be like, what the hell is it? Soapbox Extend? What is this trash? Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I got my wheels are turning.
Mm-hmm.
The hamster's on.
I was gonna say, as long as the hamster's alive, that's good. With Bob, I'm never sure. Hamster's there, it just died years ago.
I think we all wonder from time to time.
And yes, Joe,
Right.
they are ridiculous. So, to Joe's earlier comment, I've watched that over the past year go to crazy town.
Yeah. And to answer Bobby's other question, yeah, it's still full of beer. During the week, I don't really drink much. It's one of those things where it's like Friday is where I'll say. And here's the thing: if anybody who actually watches the show pays attention, I'll usually go through 2 of those tall boys. Can I drink more of them? Yeah, I can. But it's one of those things where it's like, do I need to? No. I like still having beer for a while. I'll buy a case and I'll work my way through it. It'll take the time it's going to take. It's there, but it's in the fridge. It's cold. It's ready to go.
I stick to my 2. Tonight I decided to actually drink the Makers, and it's one of those in which people who have watched me think I've actually drank more than what I have. In fact, I haven't.
Yeah.
It's been mostly watered down and a little bit of splash of Sprite from time to time, and I'll add a little bit more from time to time. I don't want to come across as somebody who's not able to enunciate their words and come across as a complete and utter moron.
Well, that's the reason why. That's the reason why I have so much fun. The reason why I've had so much fun making fun when Justin would come on, because he'd be pre-drinking prior to it, and then during he'd blast through multiple beers and just keep going and going and going. I'm sitting there like, all right, I'm doing this long live stream, and people see the beer and the drinks consistently, but I keep alternating between that and the water and the other ones. It's like I'm not drinking out of the same thing the whole time. I am pacing it over time. It's intentional. There is a method to my madness. It's not an accident.
No, absolutely. And that's, like I said, even when I'm drinking beer, the most I usually consume in any podcast is 3.
Hmm.
And it's over, a 2 to 3 hour time frame.
Yeah.
And I always eat beforehand, so it's not like I'm consuming alcoholic beverages on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those in which I can put them down like the rest of anybody, but at the same time, I don't want to come across as some incoherent dumbass to where it's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. That's like for after hours. For after hours, if I want to get stupid, I can get stupid. But,
I like it. I like it.
What's the temperature there, Steve, that you're out there in a short sleeve shirt?
55. 55. It's getting, it's supposed to get colder this weekend. Believe it or not, they actually had snow in the forecast for Friday night into Saturday, and they took it out. Because we were actually supposed to have rain tonight going into tomorrow. And it's it's a little cloudy right now, but they took the snow out of the forecast. But I think we're below freezing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but not like the whole day. It's only, overnight. And I think the lowest we get is 28. But remember, I live in Texas. I'm not up north. Unlike Paul and his negative 40 degrees Celsius, which is also negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is crazy to think with a negative 50 degree.
Well, I told Paul,
wind chill.
if he'd stop being a cheap bastard and just pay the heating bill, he'd be fine.
Well, this is true.
It's utterly ridiculous. Like, you're doing this to yourself, bro. I do this to myself. When it gets real cold down here in the main floor, it's like, I don't have a heater. I got the one thing. I got the HAL 1000 over here doing its job for me. It's blowing warm air in my direction. Otherwise, there's no heating on this floor. That's why I wear layers. You can tell that what's fun for me watching back on the live streams is you can tell the early part of the year where I'm wearing layers like I am wearing right now, and then as we get into the summertime, I also got no air conditioning down here, so I'll be wearing just a t-shirt. It's like, yep, that's all I can wear right now because it's hot. Next year, that's kind of. I'm thinking I'll probably just. I've been putting the money aside for a while now, and I'm most of the way there. probably I'll just break down and be like, all right, install the damn thing. How much you need? $7,000. Take the stupid money.
It's just money, man. Come on.
Ah,
With all that money you're making, with all the money you're making on YouTube, I mean, come on. That's,
well,
that's like chump change.
that's what I was gonna say. Look. If the Fanatics bag was secured right now, if I could tell you, look, Josh Luber and I talked. I got enough zeros on it. We're good, bros. I appreciated him, bro. He appreciated me, bro. We were good. It's like that next week. Next week we'll be doing this from my palatial estate. Alas, the dream is deferred for another year. The only thing I can't promise you, Vinny, is that it won't be just a life of glamour. Alas, it's not just a life of glamour and riches. We tried, but it's not quite the life of glamour and riches we all were promised. Turns out sports card YouTube is not that path to that one. Not so much.
You can't get YouTube famous for sports cards?
Oh, I'm sure you can, but YouTube famous is all relative, right? Look, you can be a hobby goat with like 4,000 subscribers now if enough people are willing to throw you into events. I'm looking forward to right now. We've got the Mint Collective whatever thing coming up in January. That's the thing in Vegas. Now, here's where I am jealous. Vegas. I love Vegas. Like, can I just go to Vegas and pretend I'm covering the Mint Collective thing? I'll pretend. I'll peer in. Yeah, Dana White's there. That's sweet. That's cool. All right, see y'all later. I'll be at the tables. But no, I'd go to that just for Vegas. But yeah, that's where the floating heads and miscellaneous this, that, and the other thing, and that's where they'll all be working on the future of the hobby and telling us where we'll be collecting in the next year. It'll be very exciting.
I'm glad they get to make those choices for us.
They do. They will let us know. You'll get a letter in the mail telling you explicitly what to do and a set of instructions. So prepare yourself.
Then I can offer them the frothy glass to shut the heck up.
You can. But they will only acknowledge you if you are an influencer by then. Soapbox Extend.
I'll still offer them the frothy glass.
And there's your answer, Carlos.
I can't accept the influence of that. I don't think he can even get that done in his own house.
Hey, decisions.
I'll unleash the Kraken.
Choices.
I won't have to worry about much after that.
There you go.
Hey, Josh, come here. This is the better half. What were you saying?
The better half. You might have a better chance at that point. It's like, I have no idea who the fuck you are. Follow the instructions. Better half. All right, we'll listen to you.
I do.
So you defer to the manager is what you're saying. Hold on, let me get the
Pretty
manager
much.
over here. Let me get this taken care of.
That's how I roll.
The CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the COO.
Absolutely. It's important. We figured it out. Okay, we know where the power lies. We got it, Vinny. We know where the power lies. We got it.
Hey, my father told me marry somebody like that, and sure as heck I did.
What the hell were you thinking?
I just listened to my father.
Carlos Sr. has been married for, I think, 40 years now. Approximately 40 years. I think right about 40 years. And the secret to his success is the garage. He's learned how to not listen to my mother. Like him, I also don't hear anything she says. She sent me text messages earlier today. I ignored them. And then I called Carlos Sr. and I go, so what the hell did she write? He goes, did she say text me? Yeah, but I didn't read them. So what did you say? If you want to talk to me, press the button and actually make a phone call. You send me text messages, you are ignored. Click.
Interesting dynamic. He responds to group text messages from card-related people, but ignores mother.
Yeah, it's priority, Steve. My mother said a lot of things over the years. Allegedly, she said words over many years. She's a Colombian woman. She's not shy on speaking words. I've learned, like, It's like, didn't I tell you, you assumed I was listening? I just did this. Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Are you going to do it? No. Whatever it is, probably not. No. Most likely no. Let's be real here.
And if she calls, you get the tape recorder that says, mm-hmm.
No, wait,
Yeah.
no. If she does actually, if she
yeah.
does actually ever call, it's straight to voicemail. wonderful. It's so good. She knows I can answer and I still give her voicemail.
Ignore.
Ignore. Oh, especially you. Nope. Telemarketer. Yeah, I'll talk to you. Yeah, go ahead. Great.
Your warranty's gonna run out.
Yeah, exactly. It's this, for better or worse. That's why I said last week. It's like, look, we got no shrinking violence around here. Nobody in this house knows how to shut the fuck up. Nobody. So that means that you got to learn. That's where my younger brother basically learned to run and hide. So yeah, because you got three really strong personalities. My mom is a super strong personality. Carlos Sr. is my father. And then you got me. And it's like, he's not winning. He'll get crushed. So he's like, nope. He's like, peace out. I'm Switzerland. Goodbye. I'm not winning this. It doesn't matter what happens. I'm not winning. I'm the one who's going to lose.
But
But
did
hey.
he really?
What's that?
But did he really?
Oh, if you, he loses. My favorite thing in the world is when he complains at the dinner table. It's like you invited him. I'm like, yes, they did. I guess they really don't like you that much. It's a shame. That's a shame. Because they know exactly what I'm going to do. And yet, I don't really need to come here. I don't care. Free meal's free meal. That's cool. But I could take it or leave it. I've turned it down plenty of times, so it's not really an issue for me. But yet, they invite me back. And then I say whatever I want. And then I leave. And then they invite me back again.
They're so blessed to have you in their life, Carlos.
I know. That's why I said you acknowledge the warm glow of my presence.
It's a warm glow of something.
Yeah, like radiation. You die. Slowly over time. Yes. I said that. I know. It's like a negotiation, Vinny. You only win the negotiation if you're the one willing to walk away. They're negotiating against themselves. This is the key. It's like, look, I don't really need this shit. I don't care. That would be an effective strategy. That's pretty good. I like that. I don't think he's ever been that clever. Coors Light kind of sucks. So, no, I might let him keep his Coors Light. I think that's a fair thing to do. I think I'd let him keep it. He can keep his Coors Light. But Aquafina would be, the same. So I feel like it would be cheaper for him to just buy Aquafina. Eliminate all the pretenses and go straight to hydration.
I'm offended.
We figured you were.
It's okay. The word light does not belong at the end of a beer.
No.
No. Just get the real beer.
Coming from somebody who drinks Mike's Hard Lemonade, Dave, you have no say in
Mike's
this
Hard
conversation.
Lemonade is a lot stronger in alcohol content than Coors Light.
No.
Does that Mike Hard Lemonade, is it below 5 APV?
I think it's five.
I think it's 5 APV. I don't know if you've got it maybe different over in Minnesota, but it's 5 around here. And 5 is higher than Coors Light.
Yeah, 5%. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
it doesn't have light at the end of the name. So
no, but like the whole light thing is the APV. So the ABV on Coors Light is like what, 3.5, 4, something like that. If my memory serves, I haven't looked at it in a while, but I think that's right.
I think.
That's the reason it's light, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. The whole light is just lower alcohol content. That's it. It's just a little watered down if you have a standard beer, but it is what it is. You do you. But yeah, no, I think Coors Light, I'd let him have it. To answer the question. Oh, I like that. That's a good question there. Bold predictions. Very nice. Dave, please regale us with the future.
Soapbox. Extend.
Vinny, I'm telling you, this is actually a really good channel name. I actually like it the more I think about it. I actually like it more and more. If it hasn't already been taken, I would literally just quickly in a tab, just make sure you've got that secured already.
I like my name. I'll just I'll build off of it.
All right. He's going with the Vinny name. So, Dave, what does the future hold other than Vinny's domination of the vlogging space? What else we got?
I think he should have 3 shows a week.
At least.
Tuesday nights, Friday nights, Saturday nights, because I don't think anything else is going on.
No, as far as I know, like Saturday night is like a barren landscape of emptiness,
Yes.
devoid of thought,
Any
fact,
knowledge.
substance.
I should do a live drive to the soccer games. I could do that too.
Mm.
And
I like
give my
that. You
opinions
could do
about
that.
things.
That's probably more worthwhile than anything else.
Possibly.
No. Hashtag not allegedly.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's-
You could
That's
literally
funny.
have a video once a week where you just randomly call Bob and bring him on to a live stream and just be like, "What the hell are you doing right now?"
yeah.
And he goes like, "I don't know." And that goes on for about 5 minutes, and that's the end of the video. That could be a real weekly segment. What's going on with Bob? And that would be like extending Bob Lewis's content for like the whole year. That might be like most of the videos he does in a year.
Potential.
Yeah,
Potential.
that's what I'm saying. And after a while, people would ask the question, "Why is this a thing? What are you doing?" But they can't look away. They can't look away.
Like a Russian car crash.
That's what I'm trying to say. What the heck?
Or you can just start bringing people on for like 10 minutes, just random people. And then somebody just asks, well, what about Bob? And that's where you segue into the Bob.
And a movie reference. I like what you did there, Dave. All right, can we actually get a bold prediction for 2022? It's actually a really good question. It's actually a good question. We'll get back to making fun of Vinny's future venture later. But for now, this is a legitimately good question. I think it's a good one.
Thank you.
Dave, you're the host. You first.
I don't think anything. I think more. It's going to cool down more. I won't say completely drop off, but yeah, I'm hoping that prices continue to stabilize, and I'll say Mike Trout stuff goes down. Gary Senior stuff starts the uptick. That's a bold prediction. I will say for us, Bob Lewis gets impeached. He spent too much time in this group that the higher ups, they're going to finally say, you know what, your Hall of Fame credentials are revoked.
I think that's fair. I think most of the voters were inebriated anyway. Like, I've got questions. There were definitely substances. I don't know if they were performance enhancing, but they were substances. That's all I'm saying. There were substances involved somewhere in this. I feel like we should demand a recount as a people.
Several times.
Agreed. Until we get the desired result.
Yes.
Agreed. Do you want me to go next, Dave?
I was like, is that all you have, Dave?
I was like, I feel like Dave is asking me. All right, I'll go next, and then I'll get a refill of this. I like I said, I actually think it's a great question, and please ask it again on Friday. But real quick, I'll kind of piggyback off of one of the things Dave said. I think there will still be a little bit of a slowdown going into the new year. I don't think anything's going to fundamentally change between now and January into February, March necessarily. There may be some market specifically really tight stuff, but I think the good news for that is that it's also going to ferret out some of the miscellaneous content. I think some folks are going to give up because some of them are going to realize that this is no longer the easy cash cow that it once was. It'll become easier. Now, investors will not make their way out of the hobby. Some will. There will always be, because people pretend like, and this is a point that I've made repeatedly on some of the other shows and stuff where I've talked about them, where I give them a little perspective. As somebody who was around during the 90s and when, the first boom ended and that period, it's like, guys, people still made money. You still can. It becomes trickier. The margins are tighter. You're not making 2x, 3x, 5x, 10x in a weekend. No, but you could make your 20, 30%. And if you were doing that on a fairly consistent basis, you could be solvent. You could be viable. Like you could still make that work. Well, the people that were rational and were purchasing very carefully and judiciously, they're still in the black. They're comfortably in the black. And they're sitting there going like, oh, so if you guys are going to have a sustained period of control, wonderful. That sounds like a buying opportunity for us. Because what's going to happen at some point is they're going to have another trigger. You'll have another round. Right now, there's some institutional money that can't go away even if they want to. They're actually staked in it. So now it's behooving them to be like, oh, throw some more money into it. And my prediction was, and I'll stand by it and I'll elaborate more on Friday. Long story short, I think Fanatics will make a move of some kind in the year. We don't know exactly what that's going to entail. Is it manufacturer or something? They're going to make some kind of a move there. And when and if they do, that'll be a big story and I'll enjoy covering it. It'll be a lot of fun. But when we get there, what's going to happen is you're going to have a little bit of suddenly like a mini boom, another little lift. But what's going to happen is this. I think they could be very successful. I think they could do a pretty good job and fall way short of the big promises they're making. They're hoping to multiply the market. But in a certain way, they could cheat a little bit. Because if Topps and Panini as lame ducks kind of overprint and suppress the market a little bit more, that could actually work in Fanatics' favor because they could be like, oh, we meant multiples of the depressed market. Reset the bar, set the index down at the lower tier, and then even if you get it back to where it was before, you've actually increased the market substantially. So you could declare victory, mission accomplished, banner drop. You could declare victory when you actually didn't do anything other than maybe bring it back. And in 2022, Dave will be on his own show. I like that. Think some exciting.
As we lose, Dave.
That's what I mean. But in 2022, he will be on his own show. Not in 2021. That's too ambitious. 2022, though, he will be on his own show. I like it. Vinny, the time is ripe. The coup is on. It is now all you.
Soapbox extend.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say. Dave, you were overwhelmed by Vinny's coup. It was getting very exciting. It was getting real good for a moment.
The internet the whole night has just been shit.
So anyway, but the bottom line is though that I think whatever Fanatics does though will be interesting in that they're going to try to push the narratives that they're increasing the value of the hobby and all that stuff. But if they let it drop a little bit more, it might actually be smarter for them because they can claim victory without having to do as much work. It might actually be really working in their favor to be like, let's just sit back and wait for this. We've got cash. We're ready to go. Not until we're ready. You Panini Topps, yeah, do your thing. Do whatever idiocy you're doing right now. Drop it down a little further, and we'll come in as the white knights of the hobby and bring it back up to that previous level. That's plausible. I do think that is plausible.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think it's even more than plausible. I'm going to go a step further.
Ooh, I like it.
Than your prediction.
I like it.
I think Fanatics will purchase Topps,
All right.
the brand. Panini has their hands in more than just the overall card market. I know Fanatics has the funds, they have the money, they have the backing that they could probably purchase a Panini. But if they did, it would be a division of Panini. It wouldn't be Panini as a whole.
Yeah, Panini, people underestimate how large Panini is as an overall
Yes.
company.
Yes.
Whereas Topps lost a lot of their value when that deal went south because they were going to
Yes.
become $1 billion company with the deal. Without the
Yes.
deal, actually, they're not worth nearly as much as people. And without the license, they're worth even less.
Correct.
Yeah, so Topps is in a more vulnerable position going forward than a Panini, which already has pretty good cash reserves. They can do their own thing. They don't have to care.
Yep. Which is why I took it a step further and
Sure.
they will purchase Topps. So Topps will still be a thing. It'll just be it'll just be done under Fanatics. Topps has a mainstay. It's one of those in which I think it could have potential adverse effects if you actually eliminate the Topps name from a card perspective, just because of its tenure. Which is why I think Fanatics will purchase Topps, but will maintain the name moving forward.
Just let the Fanatics logo on the back, and you've got both ends covered.
Yep. you will individuals that have come during the hobby boom and opened shops, I think will actually disappear in 2022.
Mhm.
I've said this before, maybe not on the maybe not on the show specifically, but I've always felt as though shops that have been around prior to the hobby boom will maintain, they will continue to thrive, they will still do well. Those that created their businesses during the hobby boom, I think will realize maybe this maybe this was bad timing, and I think they'll go away. I'm not going to name any names. Dave, Vinny, you know who I'm alluding to. Carlos, I'm sure you can probably
I have a few I've identified that are possibilities in that range. Yes.
get what I'm kind of throwing down.
Home ec close. Oh, man.
That would be
But you
one
don't
of them.
understand. But you don't understand. Tracy Hackler has moved from Panini to the Roadshow. They're going to be great.
It's one of those in which
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
I'd be interested to see how that kind of morphs.
Mhm.
Yep.
Because it's a multi-state branding thing. They are opening shops in multiple locales. Tracy is good from a marketing perspective.
He is.
Does that mean that they're going to do phenomenal? I don't know. It all depends on the minds behind the ultimate ideas and concepts that they put into the shop.
Yeah.
So it's one of those in which it's hard to know. I like Tracy. I hope he does well. From that perspective, I wish him well.
Yeah. I will say one
I've
quick
had-
thing, Steve. I will say one quick thing there, Steve.
Go ahead.
It wouldn't shock me if Tracy has a good relationship with Josh Luber. Because Tracy has a lot of friends in the hobby and mutual friends and all that. Now
He
that doesn't
probably does.
that doesn't mean the be all and end all, but it will not be a bad thing to be friends with Josh Luber in the New World Order, because they're not going to do the old boys network the same way that some of the distribution networks did. But that isn't to say they can't at least make some allocation available to you. And if you've got a franchising arrangement with some folks, that is going to help you, because then you're going to have a pipeline to product. I'm just throwing it out there as a thing, as a thought.
No, and that's a very good possibility. I mean, Tracy's been in the business for 2 decades.
Yeah.
It's not like he doesn't have contacts.
Yes.
So I mean, there's always possibilities. What those possibilities are, we don't know, because we're not privy to those conversations. We're not, involved in those conversations behind closed doors. But I think that there's opportunity even in 2022 to see some additional growth in certain aspects of the hobby. What those are, I couldn't tell you, because it's very hard to speculate and try and it's a very generalized statement. Not that I'm going to come out next year and be like, I told you. I'm not going to do that, because when you have a generalized statement, that kind of defeats the purpose. But I do think some shops will disappear. I think we're going to start seeing some of the influencers dissipate as 2022 progresses, because it's one of those in which some people have bought in at the high of the market in a lot of senses. And from that standpoint, if you buy in at the high, you of course you are in the red in a lot of situations, especially if you're trying to liquidate inventory because you're trying to find a way to reduce the overall impact financially. Who those individuals are, it's hard to know. There are a lot of smart people who have come into this market space. But at the same time, smarts don't withstand time to a degree. So it'll be interesting to see who actually sticks around and who doesn't, whether that be from an Instagram perspective or a YouTube perspective. It's hard to know. I have my guesses, but I'm not going to call those out in specifically because I don't think that that's fair. I have my opinions, but they are my opinions.
I think it's good though because if that landscape gets a little bit more flushed out, there's a little bit more space. There'll be some room in the space. All of a sudden, there'll be a vacuum in the influencer space for individuals who may be getting going, and suddenly there may be a little bit. And now y'all will be asking, Vinny, what do you think?
Yes, this is true.
Soapbox extend.
Tops does not get purchased.
His
Is my opinion.
question to the Oracle. Oh my God!
I know.
I gotta refill my drink now. I absolutely have to. I'm required now.
What I think is going to happen is, as me and Vinny Senior have discussed, Fanatics is going to offer licensing agreements to the companies, and I think this might go beyond 2022, but what I think is going to happen is Panini will be able to put baseball together with actual logos. So I think that's going to be something. I think they somehow convince Upper Deck to come back in the game and produce more things than hockey. I think optimally it's going to produce 3 companies that are going to have possibly 4, because you don't know what Leaf will do, Pro Set, whatever you call that independent group. So you're going to have all these guys with the ability to make cards of all the major sports, and it's going to drive competition. It's going to drive pricing to go down, I think, on certain things. You're still going to pay through the nose for like NT and Flawless, but hey, you have exquisite hockey. Now we're going to have exquisite basketball again. What are you going to do now? Where are you going to spend your money? Now we got to compete. Will this, in this new world order of cards, be something that levels the playing field like it was in the 90s? You had so many players in it. You're going to say, well, I'm going to wait for Prism Baseball because it's just as good as Topps now because it has this. Oh, Chrome Football? Screw the Panini stuff. I'll wait for Chrome Football. Mm-hmm. What if that comes to be? Complete shot in the dark, but it's, it's one of those things that I have in my back of my head of one of the scenarios that could play out. I also think that flipping's going to be, you're going to have to move weight. There's no more having 50 cards in your box and you're going to go in a weekend and you're going to make, unless you're moving high-end stuff, you're not going to make the $5,000 to $6,000 profit, which is what, 30, 40X or whatever you did to get the cards. I think the tax man are coming, and he's going to change a lot of that stuff. So deals are going to be harder to do with Big Brother in a way, watching everything you're doing now. There was a video I watched today. It was at a card show somewhere. I forget where it was, but the locale said, here's a pamphlet to all you people who set up here as dealers. You need to pay us the tax after the show on what you made. If that's
Hashtag average deals only.
yeah. Now you have to pay the tax man after the show. So cash used to be king. How are we going to do that when the local tax man's sitting at the local card show saying, "Hey, I want my piece."
Doge, Vinny.
Yeah.
Doge.
Yes.
This is it. The moment is good. Great, Dave. Bring back the shirt. Doge.
This is also why I said some of these people are going to disappear. Tax laws change in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
For those people who want to establish a business and do things the right way, I think that some of them will still be around. But at the same time, these large deals of cash trading hands, because of the changes in tax law and everything else, unless they want to evade what is the requirements, then at some point these people are going to be shut down. Either they're going to stop altogether because the money isn't there, because now they're required to pay on per transaction, plus your state sales tax, so on and so forth. These people aren't going to want to deal with all that stuff, because then it only complicates and convolutes things for them. They're not going to want to pay an accountant to take care of their books and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. That takes money out of their pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see a shrinkage from that perspective. But to go back to what you mentioned earlier, I think to a degree, I don't disagree with the possibility of Fanatics issuing certain sub-licenses, but I think it will be to Upper Deck into Panini. I will call it now, as people are exiting my house.
Are the beanbags in here?
Yes, they're
Oh,
inside.
okay, awesome.
Beanbags will be available in 2022. That's important.
I told you to tell your husband or Nate to come get it. I'm carrying
Yeah,
it.
call Nate.
Okay.
Nate will be carrying it. Yes. Go
I
on.
told you I ain't carrying it across the street.
Yes, call Nate as they're listening to the conversation.
Mhm. Yes.
Anyway.
Call Nate or your husband. Or
In 2022, we'll call Nate or her husband. Correct.
As Carlos alluded to,
Really?
when I mentioned the whole purchasing of Tops, Tops valuation dropped significantly when they lost their deal to go public
Yeah.
because of the Fanatics news.
Mhm.
Tops, I think, is struggling financially.
There.
And from that perspective, they are ripe for the taking. If it's Fanatics, I think Fanatics is the right choice. That doesn't mean that somebody else may not swoop in and do it too. You know, anybody who has money, hell, for all we know, Nat Turner might come into the freaking picture. We don't know.
It's not
But-
going to happen, but nothing would make me happier than if Brian Grant swooped in and bought Tops. Because I bought Tops, you guys. Oh please, oh please, oh please.
But-
the content gods, Vinny, the content gods.
But at this point, you don't know.
I know.
All they have to secure is the capital.
Mhm.
All they have to do is secure the capital. But because Topps valuation is now so low and they have been struggling because they've only had baseball,
And Cabbage Patch Kids, come on.
well, Garbage Pail Kids.
Whatever. One of them. Kids, pails, whatever. That thing.
Kids in the hall, whatever.
Yeah,
Look,
they're-
whatever. Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah, they're right for the picking. So I think it would be Fanatics just because Topps is an iconic brand name. It has been around for ages. It is like the staple when it comes to baseball cards. You know, and the fact that Fanatics has multiple licenses, you buy the Topps name, you bring on a few of the people. Yes, now you have Topps Chrome football, you have Topps Chrome basketball. You have a lot of these things that can come back that have been staples for so many years that we lost when Panini got the rights to basketball and football back in 2015, you know, and going into the 2016 product releases. So do I think there's possible to leverage sub-licenses for Panini and for Upper Deck to produce other products? Absolutely. Would it be in their best interest to create some additional diversity and, you know, creativity? I think it would be wise and would benefit collectors. But at the same time, just because their staple and their statement has been trying to focus on the collector, are they actually going to execute on that statement? That's left to be seen. And we're not going to know until it becomes a reality.
Now you see why I said I love the question. That it leaves a lot of room for a lot of directions you can take it, and it lets you expand and build on. Even if you think a certain theory might work, you can expand upon it further and elaborate on it further. The thing that I take away a lot of from what Vinny and Steve said is that it's going to become a little bit more complicated to operate in the space. You're going to have to put in more work to operate in the space. And my point has always been when it comes like this, and I'll use the poker analogy because I love it for a lot of things, but this is a good spot for it. if you create a scenario where it is more difficult, the more skillful the edge actually grows. The more skillful actually gain a huge edge. And the edge only gets more pronounced the more you go. So even in the current space, they can make money because they're skillful, so they can make money. But at a time where things were hot and anybody could make money, any idiot could make a buck. There's no skill. The threshold was low. But now you created it and make it a more difficult area. Well, all of a sudden, the people who knew what they were doing in the first place, they adapt, and this business as usual for them. They just adjust their margins accordingly and what they're doing and proceed forward. For the folks that it was easy money and that's the only way they could hack it, all of a sudden they start struggling and they fail. For the most skillful, that could be a very advantageous time period. It could be a wonderful consolidation period for them to be able to acquire and do some things. Because as I said, the institutional money has too much invested in it to fully run away. So for them, it's going to be trying to reload and recreate another mini boom here. So for the more skillful, it could be a consolidation period for you to set yourself up for the mini boom and be like, yeah, okay, I'm ready. All right, you got the mini boom? Here you go. I already had one of those. I already had 10 of those. I already had 50 of those. Here you go. Spend your money. I will take it. Thank you. Good day.
As we fall silent, because nobody has any retort to that statement.
The underlying point though is that I think it's advantageous. I think that's a good spot to be in if you have been preparing for this day. You understood that the boom was not indefinite. It was not a permanent situation. So instead of complaining about it, I watch enough content to go like, so why are you complaining? I don't understand. Like, what's the issue here? If you are the skillful one that you think in your mind you are, and the truth is they're basically betraying they're not the skillful ones. They're basically, the complaining is coming from a position of weakness. They understand they can't hack it in that space. I like that space because I operated in it already. So for me, it's like, all right, so it's 2001 again. I did that. It was fine. I had no issue. I know how to operate in that world. Now, it's different, obviously. Social media and a lot of these things are different. But the underlying fundamentals are the same. You've changed the numbers around. You've changed the products around. You've changed this and that. No, I can adapt to that too. It's fine. But those who are able and willing to do that will inherit the earth, so to speak. You get to pretty much then call your shot from then on in. And then if we get another kind of mini boom or a couple of mini booms in, well, then that's profitable for you. So from a collecting perspective, it's profitable in the sense that you will grab the right things and already have them in position. Take advantage of that opportunity to get the stuff you really wanted when the price is suppressed a little bit. Add that to your PC, put that to the side in the vault, bury it in the warehouses, one of Dave's 57 million warehouses now. Just put it there. But the other stuff, here, you can have that for 50 times what I paid for it. Have a good time. I appreciate your money. I appreciate you, bro.
Your Topps thing's growing on me, Steve. I think I got more caught up in the fact that I'd like to see Topps diversify its portfolio, and I'd like to see Topps remain independent. But, as you said, because of their current situation, that might not be the best way for them to go because, frankly, they're weak cash-wise. So
It's either the Topps brand dies, which as collectors, and I'm speaking for the collective, I could be wrong, but most collectors don't want to see the Topps name die.
No.
It's been a hobby staple. Does it mean that even if it were to die, so to speak, that you don't have a resurgence of something else? Anything is possible because of the Fanatics deal and what they've done. Me personally, I would love to see Topps Chrome football come back. I would love to see Topps Chrome basketball come back, even though I'm not a huge Topps Chrome basketball guy. But it's one of those in which, as collectors, for as long as what we have been the collective here, we've seen Topps put out quality products for other sports. Whether or not we collected them or not really is irrelevant. It's the fact that we can appreciate what they've done over the years and things along those lines.
Anthony,
Like I said, personally, I would hate to see the Topps name die. I would. If it did, the bigger question would be, what does that do to current products that are out there, existing products that are out there? Do we see a possible quote unquote mini boom, Carlos, as you kind of alluded to, for like Topps product in the event that, Topps files for bankruptcy and Topps just goes away altogether? What does that do to existing products and cards that are out there? Do they increase? Do they decrease? Do they just, fall out of the, just disappear? Those are things that I don't want to think about, but at the same time, it's a possibility, because what we don't know is, it's one of those in which we don't know what's ultimately going to happen. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what Fanatics' plans are. We don't know what Josh Luber's plans are. We don't know what Topps' plans are. We don't know what Panini's are. We don't know we don't know anything. As we always say, this is all speculation. But I would love for Topps Chrome Football to come back. And to be honest, I would love for them to be able to go back and recreate the years that were non-existent. Who would love to have a 2017 Topps Chrome Patrick Mahomes rookie? I would. Only because I love Topps Chrome. I don't get what, it's one of those in which I probably don't get that. But, at the same time, the opportunities and the options are unlimited to a degree of what can happen. But on the flip side, Fanatics also has a lot of pressure to execute. And that's what all of us, I think, are waiting to see. What's the plan? What's it going to look like? How much information are they actually going to share? Going into as we get closer to them acquiring and actually owning the licenses. It'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping for the best, but prepping for the worst. It's not going to change me from a collection perspective, because I still have a lot of things that I can collect because of all the years prior to what's happening in the future. That's just my take on it.
Fine, Steve, you convinced me. I'll ask my personal friend Josh Luber. So, Josh, just tell me all the things. Look, Steve needs to know, is he going to get Topps Chrome Football or not? Just lay it on me, man. Lay it on. Just tell me all the things. Give me the roadmap. Let's see it.
Could you imagine if they brought Upper Deck Basketball back and they could bring Jordan cards out again?
There are some intriguing possibilities. So I will say the sub-licensing thing is fascinating from that perspective. You could have some fun with it. Look, here, I'll tell you one thing that I am confident in. Despite my great personal relationship with Josh Luber, I don't have one. But if I did, here's what I would believe. I don't think Josh Luber is completely convinced what he's doing. The more he talks, the more I'm convinced he's not 100% set on what he's doing. I think he's got a lot of ideas, but I think that it becomes about practical reality and what he can do and what he can't do. I think Michael Rubin's got his ideas of what he would like to see done. So it's a situation of Michael Rubin's the actual boss. Josh Luber is the one put in that position. Josh Luber is technically middle management. Josh Luber is in a position to be able to dictate to a certain degree, but at the behest of Michael Rubin. Because Michael Rubin can pull the plug on this experiment anytime that he wants. He's comfortable letting Josh Luber have the ball for now, and he can flow out a million ideas and talk to a lot of folks about a lot of things. But if you notice and listen to what he said, he has never committed to any specific thing. He's thrown out a lot of concepts and ideas, kind of to almost see how the market tests the waters on almost everything. Oh, well, it'd be kind of cool to have print runs on all this stuff. It's like, well, you could if you wanted to. That's your call. That's literally your call. You're like, well, I don't know if I can do this. So who's the one who actually in charge? Michael Rubin. But in theory, he could do it if he wanted to. If he had a product in a manufacturer, he could give the print runs away. Is that advantageous? I actually argue no. I actually argue it'd be a terrible idea. People would love it, but I think it's an awful idea. But it would open up discussion to be really interesting.
Releasing print runs becomes counterproductive because that's even a topic of conversation in the Magic world. Mm-hmm. Why don't they release print runs? Well, they're manufacturers. They don't want you to know how many cases of product that they produced. Why would they do that?
Agreed.
It's no different than saying, "Hey, what do you have in this?" It's the same concept. That's left to be unknown. It's not supposed to be a known factor in anything.
But even if you did know and it was a situation where it was the norm for people to know, how would they have any context of what is a good print run or a bad print run? A high print run or a low print run? What does that even mean? Like, I presented to somebody, that would assume you understand what demand is. If it was nearly unlimited demand, then a print run of 10 million per card is great. It's fine. There's 6.5 billion people on the planet Earth. So it's fine. But if the demand is actually rather low, then a print run of 50,000 is high. It's all relative. Demand then comes into play. But the problem I literally did a video on this exact topic. I go, we can't figure out demand. It's almost impossible. And demand, by the way, is a moving target. Even if somehow magically I bestowed upon you one fraction of a second where you understood the exact demand of this thing, you're one sale away from it being rendered moot, and we completely changed the dynamics. The second one is sold and somebody has one, the demand is now changed. They don't need one anymore. And there's one less in circulation. So we've completely altered the math. Now we have to redo it again.
Well, and then you have the concept of potential print to demand.
Yeah.
You know, that's another thing that's been discussed and talked in the TCG market, you know, most specifically with Magic the Gathering. Are some of these manufacturers moving to print to demand? If that's the case, then, you know, it's the same concept of Tops 20, you know, Tops 20, what is it, 2020 and Project
There's
70.
2020 and Project 70, yeah.
You know, it's the same thing. You know, here's your pre-order. So this is ultimately what we make based on how much you order. It's print to demand. So from that perspective, if, you know, Fanatics comes out with Topps Chrome Football, for instance, and only 10,000 boxes are purchased, that means that the print run is 10,000. Boom, it's done. There is no more. Is there a benefit? Is it a detriment? Who knows? Then you add a different level of complexity when it comes to manufactured scarcity. Mm-hmm. And when you only limit so many boxes or cases per se, what does that do to the level of parallels? You know, do they have to revamp the product because, you know, this is the plan for the product. It's meant for X amount of boxes or cases, but yet only this is purchased. What does that do to the potential parallels? I mean, there's so many things to take into consideration when you look at the whole dynamic. The sky's the limit as possibilities when it comes to what ultimately ends up being the reality.
Now this is going to be fun because since this is the last live stream of the year, I'll throw in something that none of you have on your IRP bingo card. You ready for it? Based on what Steve just said, he basically just introduced the concept of game theory. Because as soon as you play this game, there's all of a sudden an incentive for people then to try to get together and discuss. Because if you do a print-on-demand thing, this is where the game theory piece comes in. Technically, it's the most advantageous for a large group of people to agree to order almost the bare minimum. Because two things happen. You all get your own product. Awesome. But we reduce the overall amount of print run. Therefore, it's more scarce. Therefore, there's potential greater secondary market value. In a perfect world, everybody would agree to buy the absolute bare minimum that they could so everybody gets a piece of the pie. Nobody is, shortchanged. Nobody's left out. But you actually keep the print run suppressed about as far as it can be. So that if you have an exclusivity window of any kind, then you're able to capitalize on it and get the maximum return on the secondary market. But here's where the game theory kicks in. In that scenario, it behooves you to cheat. It behooves you to be the guy who orders twice as much or 10 times as much to the maximum allowed to you. Because if everybody else adheres to this, you're the one who's sitting on a stack on stuff that is secondary market, and you have a stack to sell. You get to capitalize on both ends of the transaction. That's game theory. There you go. IRP. Last episode of the year. You get game theory. You're welcome.
Thank you, Carlos.
Y'all weren't ready. You didn't know it was going to come up today. No, but the thing is, you introduced it. The second you mentioned that, the concept of the on-demand, That's what happened in Project 2020. You watch game theory play out in real time. That's why it was fascinating to observe as an observer, to be like, as soon as people understood the way the game was being played, people understood the rules. The rules are, during this window, you can order as much as you want. We will only print to demand. So what do? Do you just print what you want? Or do you try to anticipate that someone else may want it and order 100 or 1,000? If enough people do that, then the print run goes through the roof. And all of a sudden you end up with the Griffey, Shore, the Shore Griffey. Because everybody all at the same time got the exact same idea and torpedoed the whole thing. Game theory broke, game over. Game over. Literally game over after that. It was never the same. It happened. You got to watch it in real time. You can watch that play again in real time the next time you bring a print on demand thing. Can you resist the urge to cheat? Can you resist the urge to try to game the system all at once, all together? If you're all greedy, you all lose. If you're all willing to do the bare minimum, you all win. But somebody's going to get the temptation to cheat. Somebody's going to want to do it. No matter how close you think the nth group is, someone's going to want to try to get an edge. And it's to their advantage if everybody else does play by the rules.
Which is why some of the early stuff went for mega bucks.
Correct.
Mega bucks.
Correct. It's just
everybody was just late to the party.
Yep. I think some folks take the wrong approach to it. My approach to it is like, guys, you are getting to watch market dynamics play out in these little mini situations over and over again, and you're getting taught a lesson. You're actually being given an opportunity to observe in a real setting with real dollars and cents and real people, them doing the exact things. All that boring economic crap that I did in school is like, y'all are playing it out. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Magnificent. I love it.
And we are coming up on the 3-hour mark, Dave. Just wanted to call it out specifically. I have to say, this has been a damn good show and one of our best, I think, of the year.
Yes. And thank you to Dr. Sousa for a phenomenal question that led down this tangent.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. And I was going to call that out specifically. Thank you, Joe, for actually bringing the question to the forefront. It definitely created some great conversation. It'll be interesting to go back to this in 2022 and see if anything that we talked about comes to fruition. Some of it was very generalized on purpose, because it's one of those in which, on the flip side, we're not here to claim, investment advice or anything along those lines. We've never been like that. Where's Paul? We need him. #invest.
#invest.
But it's one of those in which what we talked about, even overly generalized, it'll still be interesting to see what happens going into next year, whether it be early on, mid, or later in 2022. But I like to sit there and have these conversations and kind of see what plays out. We'll need to make sure we do our due diligence and take our notes from this episode, and when we do our year in review in 2022, how far off we were as a collective or as individuals.
Well, that's a spoiler. That means the show's been extended for another year. Everybody write that down. Spoiler, it's been extended for another year. The network has picked them up for another season.
That's what we're hoping for. Hey, that's what we're hoping for,
Otherwise, they're going to replace you with, Soapbox Extend in the same time slot. It's like, I don't know. Late replacement.
That's all right. Dave and I will be guests on Soapbox Extend. So
what you should do, so this is my trolling ways taking over. If it was me, I would 100% literally make Vinny make the channel, and I would literally just do IRP on Soapbox Extend and pretend the IRP died. Just go watch this new channel. It's literally the same freaking show. It's just on a different channel with a different name. It's like, we rebranded it. It's totally different.
Vinny's in the top left corner.
That's the only difference. Other than that, it's the same shit. No, I'm not advising you. I'm just saying it would be hilarious. It'd be brilliant.
Where I belong on the IRP. Bottom right corner.
This is not truth. This is not truth.
I like where I am.
Now, this was a great show, guys. I would have been interested to get Bob's take, but Bob was actually still working.
Bob
this
was
evening.
screaming from the distance. Like if you were listening, the problem is he forgot he actually had to push a button to get back on. He was
This is
screaming
true.
from where he was, like he's yelling as loud as he can. He's like, "Why won't they acknowledge me?"
He was working, and I'm sure he was trying to finish up and, of course, get home to the wife and kids. So, which we can all understand from that perspective. But on that note, Dave, 3 hours. Wrap us up, my friend.
Carlos, thank you. Rennie, thank you. Those that have been commenting once all night, thank you. We've said it many a time. Without your comments, without your just general gibberish as we gibber and jabber on screen, we feed off you guys in the chat. So thank you for that. Again, some in-depth chatter tonight. Carlos will be on 9:30 Eastern time.
Yeah, it's going to be 9:30. I adjusted it slightly just to give myself a little time, just to prepare ahead of time. But we're going to go past midnight on the east. We'll shoot for midnight in the west. We'll see what happens. It wouldn't be completely out of the realm of possibility. We'll see. We'll definitely hit one new year no matter what happens.
Yeah. So that's this Friday. So stop in if you feel so inclined. Thank everyone for watching. A full year of calendar year in. So we'll keep the train going as long as we can. We're not going to bow out. We're not going to do personal box breaks on here and leave that as a show. We're not going to talk about somebody's app that just started up and try to drum up some interest there. We'll talk about real topics. We'll talk about fake topics, like the YouTube Hall of Fame, maybe. Who knows?
Wow. So right off the top, you're like, so guys, we really got to do the impeachment thing. Like, we got to do it live. I'm calling my personal friend, Mike Baseball Collector. Impeach this man. Do it. Do it now.
Get all those the big wigs, the floating heads of the YouTube Hall of Fame. Get him impeached post haste.
It's important. It's important.
We'll try to start the new year off with that and get a round table, per se, of important folks and get that. That'll be one off the list right away.
All right. Good luck to y'all. See you later.
So, for Carlos, for Vinny, for Steve, send us money, including in the crypto wallet. This has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Remember, cards, it's what's brought us together. The friendships we forge from the cards, that's what really matters. Have a good night and a good new year. Safe new year, everyone.
Good night, everybody.